Ladies and gentlemen, we are here live on KRC as we will be broadcasting the live race as it happens for the NASCAR Cup Series at the Daytona Road Course here this afternoon. 65 laps scheduled distance, should be a lot of fun. I'll be watching the broadcast, or I should say I'll be watching the race itself as I mute myself real quick so I don't hear myself in my ear. There we go. So I will be listening to the live broadcast so that way I can at least figure out what's going on outside of just watching the race muted. But we are here, and it should be a lot of fun. We tested this out with the truck race the other night, and we had a pretty positive reaction to it. So I figured we will do the full race this week at the Daytona Road Course. And again, should be a lot of fun. They're currently on the pace laps from what I'm watching right now. Again, I have Hulu, so it might be a little bit delayed from what you guys actually see. It's official, I'm a commentator. If only it was official. Maybe one of these days. Unfortunately, our race on NASCAR 05 just ended about 10 minutes ago, so I was not able to get any food here. So I think under the first, I don't even think first commercial break. That's a little too risky. I think under the first stage break, I'm going to go get something to eat. So you won't see me on camera for the moment, but just putting that out there. Yeah, we'll take a rundown of the starting lineup real quick as I have it on my laptop. Fox is already kind of at the tail end of it. Pull it back up. All right, so quick rundown of the starting lineup, at least towards the front of the field for today's race. Chase Elliott, defending Daytona Road Course winner, will be on the pole. Michael McDowell, our Daytona 500 winner last week, will be starting outside pole in second. Austin Dillon and Denny Hamlin are road number 2. Hamlin was a runner-up at the Daytona Road Course last season. Kevin Harvick and Ryan Preece will be in row 3. Harvick has struggled on this road course today, but a great starting spot in 5th. We'll see what he can do. Corey LaJoie and Kyle Larson in row 4. Look out for Larson. His statistics on the road courses, pretty good. Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace in row 5. Wallace trying to break the trend of bad road course races in his NASCAR career. Joey Logano, Christopher Bell in row 6. Cole Custer, Kyle Busch in row 7. Kyle Busch won the Clash on the Daytona Road Course a week and a half ago. Brad Keselowski and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in row number 8. Kurt Busch and Chase Briscoe in row 9. Martin Truex Jr., Justin Haley in row 10. Truex spun out while leading the Clash with 6 laps to go on his own in the backstretch chicane a week and a half ago. Cody Ware and William Byron in row 11. Look out for Byron, one of the sleeper picks in my fantasy video from earlier today. Josh Bilicki and Tyler Reddick in row 12. Garrett Smithley and Eric Almirola in row 13. Almirola was one of the drivers I said not to have on your fantasy team going into today's race, so we'll also keep an eye on him. My man Ryan Blaney will be starting inside of row 14 with Heckert to his outside, filling in for BJ McLeod this week on the road course. Quinn Houff and Chris Buescher in row 15. Rookie Anthony Alfredo in row 16. Outside of him, Matt DiBenedetto. Ryan Newman and AJ Allmendinger in row 17. Look out for AJ to have a good run today from the rear of the field. Daniel Suarez, Alex Bowman in row number 18. Eric Jones and Ty Dillon in row 19. Look out for Eric Jones, also one of my sleeper picks. He is not on my fantasy team, but he is one of my sleeper picks. And then James Davidson and Timmy Hill round out the top 10 for today's race. Justin, welcome to the stream. Can we see the race? You'll have to watch the race on Fox or, something of that name. Well, the race is on Fox, so that would be the way to watch it. But no, I can't show the race on here. I'll get copyrighted. So this is just the live, my commentary that will be realistic throughout the course of the race. I wish I could just show it, even in the corner. If I could just show it, on, the bottom right or bottom left corner. That'd be perfect. Do you guys just see the earpiece fall out of my ear? I got caught on the corner of my chair. So stage 1 will be 16 laps today. Stage 2 will be 18. And that will lead us up for a 21-lap final stage to decide the winner of... 31-lap final stage to decide the winner of today's race. The lights are out on the pace car as they come off of oval turn 4. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a new beginning on the channel with a different type of full race live stream. Pit window is going to be 20 to 22 laps in today's race, so a mandatory stop will have to be made in the final stage for everybody to make it on fuel. And we'll see some varying strategies, I'm sure, at the end of the stages like we did in the Truck and Xfinity race. Green flag in the air. Chase Elliott leads the field down into turn 1. Michael McDowell runs wide in the opening corner after starting on the front row. We saw problems with that in the Truck and Xfinity race this week, and McDowell is already outside the top 10 as they go 2 and 3 wide through the first couple corners on the racetrack. McDowell now in the grass. Very pressured start for Michael McDowell early. 4 wide towards the back of the pack. Ryan Blaney has picked up at least a half a dozen spots. And Kyle Busch has contact on the right front of his race car. And it looks like maybe a tire up for Kyle Busch as he is very slow on the racetrack. So problems for the winner of the Busch Clash a week and a half ago on lap 1 of a points-paying race at the Daytona road course. So Austin Dillon was able to jump to second after the mistake by Michael McDowell, but we saw guys on restarts all day long, all night long in the Xfinity and truck race make mistakes on the front row going into turn 1 on the restart. Michael McDowell on the initial start did just that here today. He just locked him up. He ran in way too hard. There might have been contact with Denny Hamlin, but he was going in way too hot anyway. Denny Hamlin trying to battle Austin Dillon as they make their way to the start-finish line. Chase Elliott will lead lap 1. Michael McDowell is very, very slow. What a crazy start for Michael McDowell, and caution is out for debris. So on lap 2, we have a caution for debris. And the caution is out for Michael McDowell, shedding his right front tire, or at least the carcass of his right front tire, after locking them up multiple times on the opening lap. So Fox is on a commercial break now. Yeah, McDowell's paint scheme looks pretty good. Advertisements are like really loud in my ear. I gotta turn it down. Yeah, I do like McDowell's car, though. Who do you guys got on your fantasy team today? I have Kyle Busch on my team. He's already got problems early. Ryan Blaney is up to 20th already. So Ryan Blaney, after starting outside the top 30, is up to 20th in a lap and a half. Look out for him. He is hard charging already. He was one of my sleeper picks coming into today's race, and he's also on my fantasy team. So again, caution is out for the first time. My prediction to win the race, by the way, was Chase Elliott. Not McDowell Chastain. Oh, the McDonald's paint scheme. I think McDowell's car looks pretty good, too. I didn't even realize you said McDonald's. I thought you said McDowell. My bad on that one. I do like McDowell's paint scheme, but, yeah, I mean, Ross Chastain's all right. There's been better McDonald's paint schemes. It definitely looks better on the track than the render I saw earlier in the week. Got Austin Dillon, Larson, Kyle Busch, Chris Bell, and Chase Elliott. Yeah, your team's very different from mine then. Because I've got Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, and AJ Allmendinger are the 6 guys on my team. So, yeah, Kyle Busch has some definite damage on the right front. There was a lot of contact throughout the course of the pack on that crazy initial start. Oh, that's what it was. So Kyle Busch got in the grass a little bit, and the right front just dug in. How low these cars sit, obviously. Man, that just destroyed the right front of Kyle Busch's car. Cosmetically, it doesn't look too bad, but you can definitely tell it is rubbing on the right front, and they're going to have to try to find a way to repair it. And that damage is going to slow him down aerodynamically. 2 points ahead in the live standings. It's only a lap of green flag racing. They got one green flag lap in, and then problem. So top 5 after the initial start. Chase Elliott still in the lead after leading the first lap under green and obviously under caution as well. Austin Dillon second, Denny Hamlin third, Kevin Harvick fourth, Joey Logano fifth. That's the top 5. All of those guys started inside the top 10 as well. Again, only 16 laps in stage 1, so this is going to be very, very crucial. How aggressive those guys towards the back that are outside the top 10 like Truex and Blaney are on this next restart, if they're going to want a shot to get any sort of stage points or track position. Blaney was the biggest mover, I believe, on that initial start. Again, he started in 33rd and already got up to 20th. And McDowell, by far the biggest loser, obviously having those problems going wide in turn 1 and then flat spotting his right front tire, bringing out the caution for debris. Yeah, McDowell's Vickers got the Love's fire suit. Yeah. Lights are out on the pace car. They will be going green this time. Chase Elliott lined up on the inside lane for the restart. That seems to be the preferred lane going into turn 1. We did see a couple guys in the truck race on Friday night, like Sheldon Creed at one point took the outside and actually made it work, but you're at more risk of overrunning the corner on the outside, I feel like, but just on the front row in general, you're at more risk. So going to have to look out for Austin Dillon on this next restart. Hopefully he can do pretty well. Andrew Hollenbach, welcome to the stream. Had 2 fantasy drivers had issue. Yeah, Kyle Busch was one of the guys that had an issue for me. I thought about putting Michael McDowell in the lineup, but I figured I'd put AJ Allmendinger in my garage instead. I had more trust in AJ than what I did Michael. I know Michael was at the front and he had a possibility of getting stage points, but obviously that's out the window now, at least for stage 1. And how much damage is there on that right front as well. Pace car pulling down onto pit road, so Chase Elliott will lead the field to the green again. It'll be lap number 4 of 16 in stage 1. Kyle Larson fanning out 3 wide to the outside of Ryan Preece and Ross Chastain into turn 1. Hamlin to the inside of Austin Dillon. Nobody overruns turn 1 that time, but they are 2 and 3 wide through the next couple corners as they go through the S's. Elliott already out to about a car length lead on Dillon as Dillon tries to close in the braking zone. Still 3 wide just inside the top 10 between Preece, Custer, and Larson. Ooh, Hamlin not cutting Logano any slack. Through the kink. So they're both trying to get around Austin Dillon for second place still. Now, they do have the smaller rear spoilers today, kind of like they did for the Clash a week and a half ago. Last year at the Daytona Road Course, they had the taller rear spoilers, a little bit more downforce in the race cars compared to what you're seeing on the track today. So it might make for a little bit better racing like we did see in the Clash last week. Yeah, exactly, Ravish. I like that too. They had it last year too, but for sure a nice feature. Chase Elliott on the first lap coming to the start-finish line after the restart on Austin Dillon has a 1.7 second lead, though Denny Hamlin now has just jumped to second place, passing Austin Dillon before the braking zone into the front stretch chicane. Austin was one of the drivers that I said not to have in your fantasy lineup for today's race. Looks like there's a pretty decent crowd turnout for being the road course at Daytona the week after the 500. I'm very surprised, especially with COVID too. Already being at a partial crowd as it is. I don't know how many tickets they were planning on selling. Probably 30,000 again like they did for the 500, I'd imagine, but pretty good turnout. So Hamlin does look like he is slightly closing in on Elliott. Some corners, it seems like Elliott's a little faster still. Clean air is going to play a factor if Hamlin can get close to Chase Elliott during those higher speed corners. Logano to third, passing Austin Dillon. So Dillon continues to move backwards on this restart. He is in fourth. Harvick fifth. Ross Chastain still in sixth after starting there. Kyle Larson still in the top 10 as well, right behind his old ride. Quinn Half comic. Yeah, interesting point that Fox just made there. Logano started 11th and already is up to third. Though I did mention in my predictions video, there were a lot of guys in the top 10 that probably weren't going to run there for most of the day, like Corey LaJoie, Ryan Preece. Preece still hanging on in ninth, but I don't think he's going to hang on too long. And actually, Corey LaJoie is still in 10th place right now, so he's even holding his own. Granted, we've only had a couple green flag laps with that early caution. Battle for 6 between Kyle Larson and Ross Chastain going on in the center of the tri-oval. And Chase Briscoe is around on the front stretch chicane. And it looked like there might have been some cars trying to miss the chicane to miss Briscoe. And Briscoe is at the back of the pack. Not sure if there was contact that led to that. It looks like there's a little damage on the right front of Briscoe. And I'm very surprised Briscoe did not come to pit road there. He is staying on the racetrack. Might have flat spotted the tires like we saw McDowell and Busch do early, so he's going to have to be careful riding around. Yeah, no replay yet of how Briscoe went around, but Briscoe is now back to last, at least on the racetrack. Tyler Burback, welcome to the stream as well. Chase Briscoe, just like Kyle Busch's twin. Ooh! Yeah, Martin Truex Jr. and Chase Briscoe got together getting into the front stretch chicane, and the damage on the right side of Briscoe's car was from hopping over the curb because he hit it at an awkward angle. He was sideways when he jumped over it. They said it was Bubba Wallace. I thought it was Martin Truex Jr. And Truex, meanwhile, is already inside the top 10. And A.J. Allmendinger, as mentioned as well, Tyler, is already inside the top 20 after starting 34th. Well, Fox is back to another commercial. What do you guys think of Chase Elliott's handlebar mustache? I think it looks weird. Like, some guys could pull it off, but Chase Elliott is not one of those guys. It's, I noticed that during, like, the pictures they have on the driver profiles, both on NASCAR's website, the app, obviously, and then even on Fox, he's got a goatee-looking, like, handlebar mustache, and it just looks weird. Might be a little biased, but Ryan Blaney's got the best stash in the game. He shaved it, but you get the point. I don't know, it just looks weird on Chase. Doesn't fit him, yeah, I don't think so either. We got 6 people watching right now. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Again, a live, realistic commentary of the race. During cautions and commercials, I will look at the chat more often, but during the green flag action that Fox is actually showing, I will be doing a realistic broadcast. Wouldn't be shocked if AJ finds his way to victory lane. Yeah, his only career win came in 2014 at Watkins Glen. He was running well yesterday in the Xfinity race until his accident at the end of stage 1. That was his fault, so he's definitely got to keep his head on his shoulders. But he's got a lot less pressure today because he's not running for points in the Cup Series. So therefore, I think it's win or bust anyway, but he's not looking at stage points at all. He's looking at where he finishes on the race. So I look at him as being one of those drivers to short pit before the end of these stages. I give 110% to Folgers on their commercials because I swear, like, they have nailed it. Also, these Progressive commercials as well have been, like, top-notch over the last couple months. Teaching you how to not become your parents. It's like the... We got back-to-back solid commercials. Are they overplayed a lot? Yes, but they are very hilarious. Mustache facial hair combos anymore. Ryan Blaney's got the best facial hair in the sport. He's got the best facial hair and actual hair. Well, he kind of trimmed them both now, so like I guess you can't say that right now currently, but he changes his appearance like every other week, it seems like, so I'm sure he'll be back at some point this season. Fox's coverage is back. Currently diagnosing the 14 turns around this Daytona road course. Again, just over 3.5 miles in length. And Chase Elliott continues to walk away from Denny Hamlin and the rest of the field. The field's getting very spaced apart now, as they're almost halfway through stage 1. This time by, they will be already. Again, very short first 2 stages of today's race with it being a road course. So it looks like under the commercial break that Ryan Blaney and A.J. Allmendinger got together in the oval. No major contact between the 12 and the 16. Blaney was going to hop behind to try and draft Allmendinger, it looked like, and A.J. either missed a shift or checked up or something because they were in the middle of the oval. Definitely a spot where you would be going full throttle. But no major contact. Both drivers still running all right, and A.J. and Blaney still the 2 highest movers in the race, but A.J. started even a row behind Blaney and now is running 1 spot ahead of him on the racetrack. Austin Dillon is holding his ground in 4th right now. He might be holding up Kyle Larson because their intervals are pretty close to one another. Outside of the Charlotte Roval, on the last 4 road course races that Kyle Larson has been a part of, he has finished in the top 10. So 3 of the last 4. I figured with 1 year out of the car, he wasn't going to run too well today, but Jimmy Johnson did finish in the top 5 on the Daytona road course last year. Remember, Larson is taking over basically Johnson's team this season. Yes, Bowman is in the 48 car, but it's still the 88 team from last year, where Larson is taking over the pit crew and basically the entire crew that Johnson was a part of last year this season. So Jimmy did run well in the road courses last year, this being one of them. So I guess maybe it isn't as a surprise as what most people might have thought with Larson running in the top 5 early on. Had that track position at the start as well, as he started in the top 10. Kyle Busch riding in 26th after his damage on the opening laps behind Stenhouse right now. That damage is definitely going to affect him as he gets through the majority of this traffic. It's like he's got some tape on the left front of his car as well, so Busch has had a love-hate relationship with this Daytona road course. Won the Clash last week on the road course, but last year, remember, he had his rear brake rotors go out, costing him to DNF at the Daytona road course last season. Of course, early on today, flat spotting the right front. Though before he really flat spotted, it was mainly going through the grass on that initial start when they were 3 wide through the S's. And it just destroyed that race car. I think the comics are all right. They were doing that for the NFL this season too, so I guess it's no surprise that NASCAR is doing it. They're probably doing it for baseball this season too when it comes around, if I had to guess. Chase Elliott has a 4.5-second lead with 7 laps to go in stage 1. Talking about A.J. Allmendinger and Ryan Blaney coming from the back to the middle of the pack right now, but how about Martin Truex Jr., who started in row number 9 today and is already up to 6th, and he is not far behind Austin Dillon and Kyle Larson, and now he makes a move underneath Larson. Looks like Kyle's going to let him go. Truex up to 5th. One of the must-haves and one of the spotlight drivers coming into today's race in my predictions video. So Fox is going side by side here, so we'll keep the realistic broadcast going. Rightfully so, with only 7 laps to go on the stage. It's a good call. And problems for Eric Jones. Jones has a flat left rear tire that might bring out a caution. There's chunks of rubber coming off of it. the entire carcass is not even on the car anymore, much like Michael McDowell on lap 2. So there's got to be heavy debris laying around somewhere. And that left rear is absolutely dragging on the racetrack for Eric Jones. And that is going to cause some heavy suspension damage. So that might set up a caution late in stage 1, but no yellow thrown by NASCAR yet as we continue to stay green. Ashton G, welcome to the stream. Yeah, it's just not a tire at all. So our mid-stage 1 report, we'll take a rundown of the top 10. Chase Elliott, still your race leader by a wide margin over second place Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano third, Austin Dillon fourth, Martin Truex Jr. rounds out the top 5. Then you got Kyle Larson, Kurt Busch, Christopher Bell, Kevin Harvick, and Ross Chastain rounding out the top 10. Our spotlight drivers that we did not mention that were in the top 10. AJ Allmendinger and Ryan Blaney. The Dinger in 15th. Blaney in 17th. Bubba Wallace, one of the drivers to not have on your fantasy team. One of the drivers I predicted to struggle is running 23rd. Eric Jones just had a missing left rear tire. Back to 39th. So those are the other spotlight drivers that we had mentioned in the predictions. Yep, Keselowski wide in the front stretch chicane. Actually, it looks like he's got a flat tire as well. Looks like a flat left front on Brad Keselowski's number 2 Ford. He was outside the top 10 as it was. I guess DiBenedetto might have had a problem as well. Very easy to flat spot these tires. And it looked like Brad got into the back of Chastain just trying to check up. So caution's out. Debris on the racetrack once again after Matt DiBenedetto has shedded some damage after he blew a tire under the side-by-side coverage as well. So with 5 laps to go in stage 1, this is going to set up some interesting pit strategy. Will you see some guys pit, stay out perhaps? Chase Elliott has led all 11 laps so far today. I'd have to imagine with this being a restart that a large majority of the field is going to come to pit road, but you might see some guys outside the top 10 try to take their shot at stage points. So it'll be interesting to see what will happen here. I'm sure if Chase Elliott comes to pit road, you're going to see guys like Hamlin, Logano, and a lot of the guys behind him come to pit road as well, but I could see some guys outside the top 10 likely staying out. Heavy damage on DiBenedetto's car. Man, that entire right rear is missing. The bumper. So definitely a tough start for DiBenedetto, and again, that was the cause of our second caution in the first 12 laps of the race. Diamond Jeff, welcome. Action, you got Elliott, Logano, Larson, Bell, Chastain, Allmendinger, and Bubba Wallace as your picks today. Somebody didn't pay attention to Bubba Wallace not being a good road course racer. No, yeah, Bubba has not finished in the top 20 in his 8 road course racing starts in the Cup Series, points-paying road courses. Well, granted, he wasn't in the Clash anyway, so Chase Elliott will lead the field onto pit road under caution. Denny Hamlin, Logano, Truex, and Austin Dillon follow. It pretty much the entire field is coming into the pits right now. So nobody is staying out that I have seen so far. And I would have to imagine 4 tire stops for a large majority of the field with Stage 2 going to be coming very shortly. Chase Elliott will win the race off pit road, followed by Hamlin, Logano. Kurt Busch comes out in 4th, gaining 2 spots. Austin Dillon, 5th. Cody Ware, fuel only. He will be 8th on the restart if he does not drop to the back. Kyle Busch and his crew continues to work on the right front of his race car, and Elliott and his crew won that race off pit road pretty easily. Having that first pit stop is going to be very, very important for Elliott on these pit stops under caution. Yeah, Tyler, your picks are pretty close to mine. Actually, your picks are exactly mine. Tyler, you have the same exact team I do. Yeah, because I got Elliott, Blaney, Kyle Busch, Truex, Hamlin, and AJ Allmendinger's in my garage. But I guess it depends on the bonus points that you have versus me, too, that we can outscore each other with the bonus points if we did somehow tie for the win this week. I don't know what I'm going to do for, like, ties. I think if we're going to have a tiebreaker as far as coming on the channel, if we ever have a tie, it's probably going to be if you predict the winner correct. Well, granted, if... Yeah, that'll be the first tiebreaker, is if you predict the winner. Which I would assume most people probably picked Chase Elliott today anyway. He was my pick. It's like a reverse modified car for DiBenedetto. The open wheels in the rear and not the front. I guess modifieds do have open wheels in the rear too. They got like the hood cut out. There isn't even a hood on a modified. It's just open. Did your picks before the video came out? I don't show my full lineup on the predictions videos anymore now that we got this contest going, but so again, the top 10 on the restart will be Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Martin Truex Jr., Kurt Busch and Kyle Larson in row 3, Kevin Harvick and Tyler Reddick in row 4, William Byron and Chris Buescher in row 5. So it looks like Cody Ware will drop to the back on the restart. And somebody's tire was out on pit road. And it was on Tyler Reddick. So, uncontrolled tire for Reddick and his crew. So, an uncontrolled tire penalty for Tyler Reddick. He'll have to restart at the rear of the field. Christopher Bell and Brad Keselowski stay out of the pits. They'll restart actually on the front row in front of Elliott and Hamlin. Green flag back in the air. 3 laps to go in stage 1. Nobody's going to overshoot turn 1 on the restart this time. Brad goes a little wide. Hamlin tries to go up the middle. 3 wide between Keselowski and Logano. And Elliott going hard for the lead already Keselowski locking the brakes up in turn 3. And Elliott on the outside will get around Christopher Bell in turn 3. What a move by Chase Elliott. Oh, and Brad's in the grass. What a save by Keselowski in the grass. No damage on his car like Kyle Busch earlier, and Bell and Keselowski are locking the brakes up terribly right now. They got to be careful. They might flat spot a tire. We've seen that happen so many times already today. Brad Keselowski is not particularly a great road course racer outside of Watkins Glen. He has had his struggles at the Charlotte Roval and Sonoma in his career. And did not run particularly well at the Daytona road course last season. Didn't even get a top 10, and he's already made a couple issues locking the tires up. He had a flat left front earlier. He is in second right now, still kind of holding up Logano, Bell, and Hamlin behind him, and that is allowing Chase Elliott to pull away again. But will the tires on Bell and Keselowski's car make it to the end of the stage? So a lot of drivers having issues overrunning these hard braking zones early. Keselowski locks the brakes up again in turn 3. Brad is having major problems with that corner as Logano now gets to his inside for second. And Brad will let him go into the kinks, so Logano going to do what he can to try and run down Elliott in the last lap and a half in stage 1. Hamlin putting the pressure on Keselowski for third. Austin Dillon staying inside the top 10. Had the track position at the start of the day by starting in third. And already Dillon is still in 7th place after passing Christopher Bell. Martin Truex Jr., again one of the bigger movers so far, started in row number 9, and he is looking to pass Bell currently for 8th. Truex hard into the chicane, side by side with Bell. We have not seen that work out very well, but what an amazing job by Truex to get around Bell for 8th. That is how you pass in the front stretch chicane. We have not seen many passes there without contact, but Truex did it cleanly that time around. Hamlin still has not gotten around Keselowski for 3rd. This is the final lap of the stage. Every point on the line. Hamlin hard into turn 3. Keselowski has had a problem locking the brakes up there, and he locks them up again in turn 3. Hamlin might beat him back to the gas. Not quite. Good battle going on, though. Logano is 2.5 seconds back of Elliott. Elliott continues to pull away. Chase has led every green flag lap so far, and now Hamlin will get around Keselowski, but Brad maybe going to try a crossover as they get back into oval turns 1 and 2. Truex side by side with Austin Dillon for 7th. See if Truex can outbreak Austin Dillon in the bus stop. Not going to there. It's a pretty good move, though, by Truex. Into the front stretch chicane for the final time in Stage 1. No surprise here, Chase Elliott will win Stage 1 at the Daytona Road Course, followed by Joey Logano second, Denny Hamlin third, Brad Keselowski fourth, Kurt Busch will round out the top 5. Kyle Larson 6th, Martin Truex Jr. 7th, Austin Dillon 8th, Kevin Harvick 9th, and Chris Buescher will all receive stage points in Stage 1. Oni, welcome to the stream. Yep, Austin Dillon did get stage points. He was losing spots there at the end of the stage, though. Some of these better road course racers are starting to work their way into the top 10 and charge towards the front, like Martin Truex Jr., for instance, who was able to get around Dillon for 7th on the last lap of the stage. Patrick Shadley, welcome to the stream. Thanks for that comment, Oni. Well, we had 30 people watching at the end of the truck race the other night for the test stream. 7 so far right now. I think with this being on the main Fox network, more people are available to watch the race than what the truck race was on FS1. So I'm sure that has something to play with it. So that'll be something going forward then. For those races on Fox Sports 1, the Cup races at least on Fox Sports 1 and NBCSN and I guess USA Network, when the time comes, will probably be the better options to do these streams. That is Oni. That is not Kyle Busch. Oni Lassiter. If I'm saying your last name correctly. Yeah, Kyle Busch is on the racetrack currently right now. He is not texting and driving. Kyle Button, welcome to the stream. Okay, we got 9 people watching now. Yep, end of stage 1. Chase Elliott just won the opening stage of the race. Again, realistic commentary with the real Cup race going on currently right now. Chase Elliott is absolutely dominated, but Martin Truex Jr., AJ Allmendinger, a couple of guys that have made the most moves on the racetrack. AJ still has to get into the top 10. Ryan Blaney made a lot of moves early on as well. But Blaney kind of stalled out right around 15th to 20th, though, so we'll see if he gets the track position. I'm sure they got a similar setup to how the Busch Clash went the other a week and a half ago again. So pit road is open. Brad Keselowski will come to pit road. Kyle Larson will hit the pits. Kevin Harvick, Chris Buescher, and a lot of the other drivers outside the top 10. It looks like Chastain, Blaney Priest, Stenhouse also on pit road. Kind of figured that Christopher Bell and Keselowski were going to come into the pits knowing that they were probably flat spotting their tires there in the closing laps, locking them up, trying to get every stage point they could. I don't think Kyle Busch is DNF'd. Yeah, Martin Truex Jr. has made a couple passes in the front stretch chicane today, and we have failed to see anybody do that in all three series, as well as the Busch Clash as cleanly as Martin Truex Jr. has done in Stage 1. Crazy. So some of the drivers came to pit road. It looked like we had at least a dozen cars come into the pits, and again, majority of them were either in the back half of the top 10 or outside the top 10. Front runners like Logano, Truex, Chase Elliott, Kurt Busch, Hamlin, they've all stayed out. Alex Bowman also stayed out of the pits, so he will restart inside the top 10, as well as Cole Custer. Bowman's proven to be a pretty good road course racer the last couple of years, so look out for him as well. Didn't really have as many stats to back it up, so that's why I didn't have him as like one of the sleeper picks this week. But I like that. Kyle Busch, if it's really you that missed the front stretch chicane. Watch him miss the front stretch chicane on the restart. So let's take a look here at who pitted versus who didn't. Waiting for the NASCAR app to update. It's got Kyle Larson as the leader, even though he came to pit road, so I don't know why that's the case. Yeah, and I've got the chat on my phone. I'm watching the race on my laptop. Josephina Bravo, welcome to the stream. Should say Ray Howard, welcome. Crashed Logano out of the 5. It was a racing accident. Logano threw the block. Keselowski was trying to get underneath him. One thing led to another. Keselowski had a big run because he was getting pushed by McDowell. McDowell had a big run because he got pushed by Elliott, so yeah, it was just a racing deal at the end of the day. Yeah, if Kyle Busch is still in the lead lap, he's still in this race. I think they just keep going down to repair the right front as much as they can. Remember the 6-minute damage clock. The rules are this. If you can repair the damage initially within those 6 minutes and you can run under a limited pace, or at least meet the minimum speed requirements by NASCAR, then you can then come down to pit road and repair it for as long as you want. With all these cautions coming out here in Stage 1, it's obviously helping Kyle Busch. He's able to make these pit stops under yellow and repair that car as much as he possibly can and try to get it driving the way he wants it to. Think there will be a few green-white checker finishes? If so, how many? It's got potential. We've seen a couple overtimes we saw 2 in the Xfinity race yesterday, and then we saw 3 of them in the truck race. We saw 1 in the Busch Clash as well. Well, no, that wasn't an overtime finish. I think they restarted with like 4 or 5 laps left, so I guess that wasn't a green-white checker there. I think there will be a late race caution. I just don't know if we'll have any overtimes or not. There's a lot more experience in the Cup Series field than what there is in those other two series, so it's less likely. But you're seeing a lot of drivers flat spot tires in stage one, so I'm sure as we get in the closing laps of the race when they're trying to get every position they can, especially if we have a couple guys battling for the win late, you might see some flat spotting in the tires going on, so that could cause the caution. That's really the only way I see a caution late is pretty much somebody flat spotting a tire, therefore blowing a tire, leaving debris. I expect Kyle to get back in the top 20. I just don't know if he's going to finish there. He better do it before the end of stage 2 or he's going in my garage on my fantasy team. Because AJ is well outperforming him right now. AJ's in the top 10 right now for this next restart. I think he stayed out of the pits. Yeah, AJ will restart in 9th. Front row on the restart will be Chase Elliott, Joey Logano. Row 2, Denny Hamlin, Kurt Busch. Row 3, Martin Truex Jr., Austin Dillon. The top 13 stayed out of the pits. Everybody from Larson and Keselowski in 14th and 15th on back will have fresher tires, but it's only a 3-lap difference of fresh tires versus old tires. So it might make a difference on the initial start, but once we get a couple laps into the run, those tires will be evened out. So watch those guys in the middle of the pack try to make some moves to get back in the top 10. Man, as a Ryan Blaney fan, I didn't even know that. Ryan Blaney's making his 200th career Cup start today. 200 already. It doesn't even feel like he's been in the Cup Series that long. It's unbelievable. He did run part-time for a couple years before he ran full-time, though, so that's a lot of it. His first full-time season was 2016, so this is his 6th full-time season. But they're going to count it as his 7th, I believe, because he ran part-time. Kyle Busch is already in your... Yeah, I put him in my garage just to make sure after that incident on lap 1. The only way I'm moving Kyle Busch is if he shows speed in the second half of this race. That's the only way I'm moving him back into the starting. Or one of my front runners getting a wreck. We've seen some crazy restarts, so we'll have to see what stage 2 will bring. Lights are out on the pace car, so they will be going green this time. So Quinn Houff is the only driver out of today's race. Again, all 39 cars on the lead lap and on the track outside of him. Full 40-car field for today's race. Yeah, made 2 starts in 2014, and then he ran more races in 2015, but it was part-time under the Wood brothers. So into the restart zone, Elliott again will lead the field to the green, electing to restart on the inside. Logano on the outside in row 1. Austin Dillon puts the bumper to Kurt Busch. That stacks up Alex Bowman. Larson, what a move on the restart by Kyle Larson. Restarted on fresh tires in 14th. And is already trying to go for Bowman for 9th. The contact that kind of stacked up the outside lane, Larson was able to miss by going even higher. And again, those fresh tires will help for the first couple laps. Then they'll even out after that. Hamlin Logano side by side in the infield portion of the racetrack. Now up onto the oval, they're still side by side as Joey is trying to aggressively side draft Denny Hamlin. Hamlin pulls clear finally. Truex up to fourth, getting around Kurt Busch. William Byron is in the top 10. One of the sleeper picks in the predictions before the race started. Yeah, we're probably going to be tied for a while there, Tyler. Unless we have different bonus points picks. That's the only way that's going to break the tie at the end of the race. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to use some of those popular drivers up. What a restart by A.J. Allmendinger as well. Restarted in 9th, and he's already to 6th. Gained 3 spots. Kyle Larson is up to 9th, gaining 5 spots on the opening lap of the restart. And Elliott's got about a 1.5 lead over Denny Hamlin. Those two finished 1-2 at Daytona's road course event during the regular season last year. Look out for the dinger as he's trying to get around Kurt Busch for 5th. And I'm sure AJ wants some sort of redemption after pretty much having his chances go out the window at the end of Stage 1 in yesterday's Xfinity race. Not racing for points today. You know AJ's going to be going all in for the win. Roush Fenway cars side by side right now. Outside the top 10 of Chris Buescher and Ryan Newman. Buescher was actually able to finish in the top 10 in Stage 1. And he ran in the top 10 for most of the Clash last Tuesday. So Buescher definitely proving strong early on today. Cars that have damage that are at the back are still outside the top 25 of Eric Jones, Kyle Busch, and Matt DiBenedetto, running 26th, 27th, and 28th. Who side by side into the front stretch. Chicane contact in the middle of the pack with Ryan Blaney. And I believe Ryan Newman. Fox didn't have a good angle of that, but I saw it right as they were entering into the front stretch chicane. Chase Elliott still in the lead. A little damage on his right rear. Might have come from one of these restarts. But it doesn't look to be affecting him at all. He's led every green flag lap so far. Martin Truex Jr. alongside Joey Logano battle for 3rd. Truex continues to purge forward, wanting redemption after crashing while leading in the Busch Clash with 6 laps to go in that race. And Chase Elliott looked like he went a little wide into turn 1 on that last lap. Hopefully he didn't lock up the tires. He needs to keep that track position, especially with it only being 70 laps in today's race. Yeah, if AJ wins, he's in the All-Star race, so he does have something to race for there. Very, very true. Not racing for points in the Cup Series, but I'd like to see AJ race in the Cup Series again. With more road courses, I feel like he's a lock to win one of them if he runs, all season. I mean, there's 6 to 7 of them in the regular season, so I'd love to see that. Hamlin stayed within about a 1.5 seconds of Elliott. Elliott got out to that advantage while Hamlin was trying to battle Logano for 2nd on the restart, and ever since, really that interval hasn't changed. Martin Truex Jr. is about 3.5 seconds off the lead back in third after passing Logano half a lap ago. Yeah, that's the one thing about fantasy. You can't go with your heart every week. You got to go with your brain more often than not. Well, you should go with your brain 100% of the time. Your heart can get in the way from time to time, but I feel like I do a pretty good job of that. I know I had Blaney on my team the first 2 weeks of the season, but he's really good on the super speedways and road courses, and obviously with the season starting with those two tracks, yeah, I mean, I'm going to play the top guys more often than not. I do my research, though, to back it up, so. Fox is going to cut to a commercial break right now with about 13 laps to go in Stage 2. Now's the time to take our Stage 2 race break, which I'll just take a quick rundown of the top 10 and then our profile drivers coming into today's race that are not in the top 10. Chase Elliott still running P1. He's led every green flag lap so far. Denny Hamlin second. Martin Truex Jr. third. Joey Logano fourth. A.J. Allmendinger fifth. Kurt Busch sixth. Kyle Larson seventh. Austin Dillon still in the top 10 and eighth. Cole Custer ninth. And William Byron rounds out the top 10. Some of the sleeper picks or the don't-haves that are outside the top 10 right now. Eric Almirola running 17th. He was on the don't-haves. Living up to those standards. Ryan Blaney, one of the sleeper picks, restarted 33rd, up to 18th on the restart already. Kyle Busch, on my fantasy team at least, is 22nd, but he had problems early. Eric Jones was one of my sleeper picks, and he is 25th, but he is trying to battle back with some rear suspension damage after losing his left rear tire due to flat spotting it in the opening laps of the race. And the last profile driver to go over is Bubba Wallace, who is 27th. He was also on my don't-haves for your fantasy lineup. Wallace trying to get that top 20 for the first time in his career on a road course in the Cup Series and not living up to those expectations again today, unfortunately for him. Lack of practice, I'm sure, for Bubba Wallace with not running on the Clash last Tuesday is definitely costing him versus half the field as well. Yeah. I'd say that's a pretty fair assessment. AJ in replace of Almirola. Colleague Racing's looking to run full-time in 2022. Remember, I think most people have forgotten about that, but that's why they're running part-time this year. When the next-gen car comes out, they will be running full-time. Now, they have not announced if that will be a one- or a two-car team. I think you look at Justin Haley as another guy to run for him full-time next year. But if they go to a two-car operation out of the gate, then, yeah, I could really see AJ running full-time. I'm not sure if they're going to stay in the Xfinity Series or not, though. I know they said they were going to run full-time Cup in 2022. They didn't say how many cars or if they will still be running Xfinity, too. So that'll be interesting to see. Top three separating themselves from the rest of the field as Fox is back on the air. Harvick isn't a stay-away pick for me. Blaney must not have been 33rd on the restart. I know when I was looking up the NASCAR app, that was the case. And Brad Keselowski's struggles continue today as he misses the bus stop on the backstretch. So he falls back to 14th. Serving a stop and go there for missing the chicane. That'd be the wise idea. I feel like Justin Haley's going to go cup racing eventually. He's been in the Xfinity Series. This is his third full-time season in the Xfinity Series this year. I just feel like he'll be in cup eventually. It's just a matter of when. He's really good on the super speedways. Truex has the pressure on his teammate Denny Hamlin as they battle for second. See if Hamlin might let him go into turn one. Hamlin going a little bit wider, and yes, he does. So Hamlin will allow Truex to just go right ahead. Truex seems to be faster. We'll see if he can run down Elliott. They're 3 seconds off the race lead. Hamlin was hanging in there for a couple laps, and then when they went to the commercial break, it seemed like he was just losing Elliott over the long run. One of the biggest droppers, I guess you would say, Ross Chastain is running 20th right now. He was in the top 10 at the end of stage 1 and actually ran top 10 all the way through the first stage. He's running about 6th to 8th for most of it, but they might have made the wrong adjustment or got stuck back in traffic on the restart. One way or another, Chastain's currently 20th. AJ Allmendinger has just passed Joey Logano for 4th. Allmendinger continues to move forward. Again, the 3 fastest cars so far look like Elliott, Truex, and Allmendinger. And those guys are running 1st, 2nd, and 4th right now. AJ started the furthest back of those 3 by far. Pretty clustered gap right now between 4th through 7th on the racetrack. AJ is pulling away from Logano, so it's more like going to be a battle for 5th between Logano, Kurt Busch, and Larson. Kyle Larson's been in the top 10 all day. Kurt Busch has had a quiet but good day too. He's been in the top 10 most of the day as well. Currently lap 27 of 70. Overall, and they have 8 laps to go in Stage 2. Chase Elliott was the Stage 1 winner. Kyle Busch is back inside the top 20. He's up to 18th. Bubba Wallace about took it through the grass, going through the S's. Bouncing off the curbing. Boy, he's having a rough day. Hasn't had any incidents or anything of that nature, but he is just not running competitive at all. Which, again, I kind of expected anyway with it being a road course. Little contact. Chase Briscoe and Ryan Newman at the rear of the field battling for 27th. Remember, Briscoe had spun earlier. He's known for, at least in the Xfinity Series, as being a pretty solid road course racer, but that is not the case now. Oh boy, there was a slow car that Ryan Newman had to check up for. Ross Chastain has crashed. Third caution for incident today. Ross Chastain has crashed, getting back onto the oval in turns 1 and 2. Heavy impact to his right front. We mentioned he was running back in 20th. It was going backwards after scoring stage points in Stage 1 and really running inside the top 10 for the first 20 laps of the race. It just looks like he lost control. He was side by side with Ryan Blaney. tough to tell if there was contact or not. It's really tough to tell, though, because there's no damage on Ryan Blaney's car. Fox is saying that there might have been contact, but the replay was really hard to tell, too. We need a better look at that replay before we make any judgments here, because he was definitely sideways, and they were side by side for a short moment. Reddick kind of stalled out on the under caution there, but it looks like he gets it going again on the front stretch. The main front stretch at Daytona. Very heavy right front, really right rear damage as well for Ross Chastain after having a pretty solid opening 20 laps. So you're likely going to see everybody come to pit road under this caution, knowing we'll only have a couple laps to go in Stage 2 by the time we go back green, much like what we had at the end of Stage 1, where we had a 3-lap green-white checker to decide the stage win, which again went to Chase Elliott. Elliott leads this race, so he'll likely lead the field onto pit road. He's loving it. I don't think he is, though. Clouds are looking very dark off of oval turns 3 and 4 at Daytona. They have not mentioned any sort of factor of there possibly being rain today, nor was there really rain in the forecast, but it is Florida. Late afternoon, and it is getting dark. And sundown isn't until about 6 o'clock, so that is not the case either. Again, Fox has not mentioned anything about rain so far, but it does look very, very dark. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. I'm not trying to get everybody's hopes up, but could be the case. Everybody is being brought down to pit road following Chase Elliott. We'll see who will win the race off pit road this time. It was a pretty sunny day for the most part as well. Now, by rule, if it does rain and Chase Elliott very slow on the pit stop, his crew did not help him out whatsoever as he loses 5 spots. Denny Hamlin will win the race off pit road. Truex second, Kurt Busch third, Logano fourth, Christopher Bell fifth. So Chase Elliott with a mistake there. 5 drivers stayed out of the pits as well. AJ Allmendinger will restart from the lead. Other drivers that stayed out, Kyle Larson, Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, and Michael McDowell. So yes, they do have rain tires, but here is the thing. A caution will waive if it does start to rain, so drivers can have the ability to put the rain tires on. Now, if it would have been raining at the start of the race and they would have started with rain tires, then they would not have thrown a caution for if it either stopped raining or rained again later in the race. But by NASCAR rules, because it was not raining at the drop of the green flag, nor did the field start with rain tires, they will throw a caution if there is any precipitation. Again, Fox has not stated anything, but it looks really, really dark off of turns 3 and 4 of the oval. Again, if you're watching live on Fox, you'll have to take a look at that. I just noticed it under caution. I didn't really notice it before. So it could have been pretty cloudy before, but it's not cloudy. I mean, it's cloudy, but it's dark. Yeah, Chase Elliott's crew maybe costing him a chance at a playoff point here. Elliott has looked like the fastest all day today, but Martin Truex Jr. has not had the track position either. He has been as high as second, was in second at the time of the caution, but he was about 3 seconds off the lead. By the way, I picked Chase Elliott to win this race not only on my predictions video that came out earlier today before the start of the race, but also my preseason predictions. So I might get my first preseason prediction. Remember, we're tracking that. I have had, or I should say last season when we started the channel, my preseason prediction, I had 5 predictions correct. So I'm looking to break that by going for at least 6. And then my week-by-week predictions, I predicted 9 of the 36 races correctly last year. So I'm looking to go double digits, and hopefully I can get to 10 this season. Going to be going green this time. Lights are out on the pace car. Yeah, it looks really dark off turns 3 and 4 of the oval. But remember, again, it is a road course. They can race in the rain. We saw a rain delay over 5 hours during the Daytona 500 at this very racetrack last week. Allmendinger will lead the field to the green. Timing his restart beautifully compared to Kyle Larson. Oh, Keselowski might have lane changed a little early there. That was close. And Truex to the apron to go 3 wide into turn 1. Logano trying to follow him underneath McDowell and Bell. Austin Dillon goes a little wide on the initial restart. But A.J. Allmendinger is the leader with Kevin Harvick in second place. And now Harvick looking to the outside of the dinger. Denny Hamlin on fresh tires has already climbed up to third place. 5 laps to go in stage 2. Very interesting that Allmendinger stayed out. He is not racing for points. Kurt Busch locking the tires up into turn 3. Sorry, turn 5 rather. Kurt crossing back over in front of the 19. Brad Keselowski is in the grass as he has gone wide. Falling outside the top 10. Remember, he started inside the top 5 on the restart because he did not pit. Hamlin passes Harvick back onto the oval for second. Now going to try to run down Allmendinger. Hamlin's got the tire advantage over AJ, but AJ probably has the road course racing prowess advantage. Again, no out of bounds by running the apron on the restarts as well on the road course, only on the oval here at Daytona, as Fox has just mentioned. Definitely overcast compared to where it was for the first 20 laps of the race. Hamlin's got more to race for as far as the playoff points are concerned. 4 laps to go in the stage now this time by. Larson going backwards after restarting second. Again, he is on older tires. Trying to get some stage points. There's just way too many laps to go. We only had, or I should say we still had 5 to go. And Hamlin now a charge for the lead. Hamlin to the outside of A.J. Allmendinger. More grip in his tires. Kurt Busch right behind both of them. So Denny Hamlin is now the new race leader. Allmendinger not done yet, though. He charges hard into turn 5. But Hamlin with the fresh tires trying to pull away. Kurt Busch putting pressure on Allmendinger for second. Clouds have now casted most of the Daytona International Speedway. Again, very sunny for the first roughly 30 laps of this race, but the last couple since the restart. Cole Custer's got a problem with his windshield wiper if it does rain, as it is not connected very well. It is coming apart. Bubba Wallace is slow. Locking his brakes up and locking those front tires up into the front stretch chicane. Maybe a little bit of a fear of flat spotting them, so Bubba Wallace is onto pit road and his rough day continues. Kurt Busch has gotten around A.J. Allmendinger for second. Truex trying to go for third. Oh, Kurt Busch is in the grass! Kurt Busch runs wide in the grass. He did not tear the front of that race car up. Truex up to third. Logano going for fourth under Allmendinger, and this tire strategy for A.J. is just not working at all. And remember, AJ was fourth when the caution came out. He is already fifth, a lap and a half into the restart. William Byron having a good day. One of the sleeper picks is running in eighth. Just got passed by Chase Elliott. Christopher Bell's had a surprisingly really good run today, running in sixth, and has been in the top 10 for most of it. Hamlin is pulling away from Kurt Busch, but if Martin Truex Jr. can get around Kurt Busch quickly here for second, he might have a chance to catch Hamlin. They are only 2 seconds off the lead. Kurt's not going to give this spot up easily, though. 2 laps to go now in the stage through the S's. Truex going to try the high side on Kurt Busch. Not going to get it done there, and now Logano might get underneath of Truex for position after Truex missed his opportunity to pass Kurt Busch. Interval-wise, they are not losing time from Hamlin despite battling hard for second place. And in fact, they have actually gained about a tenth or two on Hamlin over the last couple of corners. racing so hard with each other that they're racing hard enough that they're catching Denny. Usually don't see that. Truex looks low. He gets back onto the oval a lot better than what Kurt Busch did side by side. And we'll see if Kurt's going to try to side draft Truex. He does. Gets the run off the banking. So Kurt Busch did a great job fending off Martin Truex Jr. for second. They'll be coming into the front stretch chicane this time, and Denny Hamlin will have one lap to go to getting his third stage win in the first two races of the season. Truex locks up the tires. He gets into the back of Kurt Busch. Both drivers keep it straight somehow, and Logano is now going to get around Martin Truex Jr. for third. And hopefully Truex does not blow a tire. This is the final lap now of stage number 2. Great car control by Kurt Busch indeed, in the high braking zone while downshifting. I think the luck of Kurt Busch saving that and the skill of Kurt Busch saving it was because Truex got him square in the back bumper and he didn't hit him on the corner panel. Or on the side skirts of the car as well. Truex is dropping back, likely trying to save his tires to keep from that tire going down. So a major problem for Truex, at least with his tires. After locking the left front up, he is back to 5th. Bell got around him for position. Kurt Busch is closing in on Hamlin, but Hamlin is out far enough by about a second and a half into the bus stop on the backstretch. Denny Hamlin, second most winningest driver in 2020. Had a fast car in the Daytona 500. A lot of stage points to start the year. Missing out on a chance at the championship last year by not having a good race at Phoenix. Not going to let this season slip away, at least early on. And Denny Hamlin will win stage 2. Photo finish at the line between Logano and Kurt Busch, too close to call for second. Joey Logano scored in... Oh, maybe not. Okay. Man, that was close. Kurt Busch, I mean, by inches, is second in the stage. Logano third. So Denny Hamlin, 3 playoff points in the first 2 races of the season. Fantasy teams are locked. So again, the fantasy teams are locked. I'm taking Blaney out of my starting lineup and putting Kyle Busch in. Busch has been charging, and Blaney's kind of underperformed compared to what I thought he was going to do today. Just texting my mom there for a second. Switched Kyle in for Blaney at the last set. Yeah, so did I. I meant to do that under the caution there at the end. I almost forgot, but I did switch it out in time. Yeah, it should lock up here at the end of stage 2. It hasn't locked up yet. Again, it should have locked up already, with it being the end of stage 2. There's a local advertisement for the forecast, and I thought it was like showing rain. I thought it was Daytona for a second. I was like, oh, it's raining. It's raining at Daytona. It is not raining at Daytona. Solid, respectable 7th. It's a season-long tourney, though, Ravish. And we're only 2 races into a 26-race regular season in which this contest takes place. So, and if you don't win in the regular season championship for the contest for the 2 tickets for 2022, then you still have a chance in the playoffs as well, because there will be another contest in the playoffs, because it resets the points and everything in the league. So, again, this contest only runs through the regular season. This first one, at least. Again, if you win the Fantasy League, you get a chance to they were looking at Denny Hamlin through the years on Fox. I got sidetracked there. He's lost a lot of weight. At least he looks like he has. Good for Denny. He is one of the more athletic guys in the garage. So Denny Hamlin leads the field onto pit road. We have our stage 2 pit stops, crossed flags in the air. We are halfway home here today as we go to start this final stage. Oh, car in the grass on pit road. Tough to tell who that was. It might have been Ty Dillon. It looked like the 96. I don't know what he was doing there. He got turned out that way, or... Interesting how Chase Elliott, once he lost that track position under the pit stops on that last caution before the end of stage 2, remember, restarted, well, I should say he was 6th off pit road, and then 5 drivers stayed out, so he actually restarted 11th. He didn't run as high as 7th to the end of the stage. So maybe Elliott's car is going to handle a lot different in traffic versus when he's got the clean air out in front. Remember, this road course is so long, and the first 2 stages at least were so short, that there's no lap traffic, and the only way you're even going to catch lap traffic here in this final stage is if it goes green for the entire last 30, just over 30 laps by the time they go green. Yeah, you can swap your garage driver in for whoever you have in the race, but it has to be before the end of stage 2. Once put Logano in for Chastain, yeah. It should lock at the end of stage 2. Yeah, it's locked right now. I'm just now looking. It's finally locked. It usually locks right at the end of stage 2, but it was a little delayed by a couple minutes there. Sheriff Tony, welcome to the stream. Did it after stage 2. Yeah, for whatever reason, it just now locked. Put Gibbs in for Kurt. Kurt Busch is having a good day today. Just finished second in stage 2. He ran top 10 in stage 1. We'll take a very quick look at the stage 2 results. We only had a quick rundown of the top 5, but we'll go through everybody that earned stage points in stage 2. Again, Denny Hamlin, your stage 2 winner. Kurt Busch second by a nose over Joey Logano, who finished third in the stage. Christopher Bell's had a great day. He was fourth at the end of stage 2. Martin Truex Jr., after flat spotting his tires, tried to save everything on the last lap, falls back to fifth. Chase Elliott did finish sixth in the stage, not seventh. William Byron finishes seventh in stage 2. Cole Custer eighth. AJ Allmendinger faded back to ninth after electing to stay out of the pits for the final 5 laps. The tire wear definitely costed him. And Kyle Busch is marching forward, people. Kyle Busch, after that damage early on lap 1, after clipping the grass through the Estes on a 3-wide start, will receive the final stage point of stage 2. So yes, Kyle Busch somehow found a way to get back in the top 10 before the end of stage 2. Spotlight drivers at the end of stage 2, Eric Almirola, 0 stage points today. I mentioned for you guys not to take him in the fantasy lineups for my advice in the pre-race predictions. I also said the same for Austin Dillon and Bubba Wallace. Wallace has not gotten any stage points, and Austin Dillon did not score stage points in stage 2. He did in stage 1, but I think as this race progresses, you're starting to see the true Austin Dillon as far as the road courses go. Guess Jeff Gordon spun out Clint Boyer in the pre-race, racing back to the... they didn't actually... You can definitely tell that was set up before the time in which they said it. Daniel Suarez stay out of the pits. Is that why he's shown in first? Yes, Daniel Suarez will restart from the lead. Matt DiBenedetto will restart in second. Both those drivers stayed out of the pits at the end of the stage break. They might have pitted before the caution at the end of the stage. That might have been why they cycled out in front. And Kurt Busch won the race off pit road. He'll restart third. Yep, Austin does have some sort of stage points. And he had the points lead going into today's race too, so... maybe, he doesn't need a win to get into the playoffs this year. I know we're only 2 races, well, not even 2 races in. We still don't know what happened to Ross Chastain and Ryan Blaney in stage 2. Boyer claimed that there was probably red paint on the front of Blaney's car, but there wasn't actually red paint on the front of his car. I think he was just kind of like assuming it. The only way Blaney would have turned him is if he like cut down on him, like maybe to hide behind him in the draft, and he clipped him that way. Like, that's the only way I can think of, but it doesn't look like there's any damage on Blaney's car that would indicate that they made contact. I think Chastain, when he tried that crossover move, just got back to the gas too soon and just lost control of the car, because once he was sideways, it looked like he overcorrected it, and then that's what caused him to turn right, because he was definitely turned to the left there initially. So he was loose, even if there wasn't if there was contact with Blaney. It looked like he got loose, and then if there was contact from that point, it would have turned him into the outside wall, but still no clear indication. Yeah, so those guys, DiBenedetto and Suarez, have 7-lap older tires than everybody that pitted behind them, so I don't think this is going to work, but the 99 is out in front on the restart. Yeah, Chastain probably DNF, because if he didn't DNF, he's limping around the racetrack right now. That car was destroyed. Final stage underway. Daniel Suarez leads the field to the green, and Matt DiBenedetto has just spun the tires on the restart. Stacking up the outside lane causes Hamlin to go 3 wide. Chase Elliott in the middle, Truex on the bottom, and look at Denny Hamlin trying to make it work. Austin Dillon goes wide, loses multiple positions, middle of the pack on the restart, and Christopher Bell jumping up a couple spots now. He's up to second. Kurt Busch is the race leader as they race into turn 3. Martin Truex Jr. now up to third. Suarez, DiBenedetto moving backwards quickly. 3 wide, further back between Custer, Blaney, and Byron. They follow side by side now as they go into the kink. Hamlin to 4th. Suarez continues to go back. Elliott will likely take over the 5th spot. Still cloud coverage over Daytona, but it's looking a lot clearer than what it was. Might have just been an overcast with the sun behind the clouds. That might have looked like there could have been rain off turn oval 3 and 4. Elliott clear of Hamlin for 4th. The leaderboard is wrong. Suarez and DiBenedetto have faded back. Christopher Bell is putting a lot of pressure right now on the race leader, Kurt Busch. A couple guys in there hot in the bus stop, side by side. It looked like Joey Gase, and couldn't tell who was alongside of him. And here comes Bell. Bell really trying to back up this front stretch chicane. Kurt Busch drove it in way deeper than Bell. That's going to allow Bell to beat him back to the gas, but not enough to make a move into turn 1 as Kurt Busch hugs the inside. Now Bell going to look to the outside. High braking zone into turn 1 again. Bell showing great road course prowess right now by just simply backing up the corners way more than what Kurt Busch is. Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr. battle it out for 3rd. I think this is going to be the real test of who is faster right here in this battle. There are still 32 laps to go. XX Games, welcome to the stream. Get my phone on a charger real quick. Oh, Kurt Busch is wide. He's in the grass. Kurt Busch is in the grass. Heavy damage to the front of his race car, and Christopher Bell is in the lead. That is the second time Busch has went in the grass today, but that time all 4 tires go wide. Heavy damage to hit the front of his race car. He dug up a lot of grass, as well as hit the curbing pretty hard. And Christopher Bell is the new leader. So Kurt bounced off of the curbing in the kink, which sent him into the grass wide. Spun the car out to keep it from going back onto the racetrack, which was a smart move. Instead of piling multiple cars back in, and Kurt Busch good day gone bad in an instant here at the Daytona Road Course. There isn't as much damage on the front splitter as what I initially thought there was, especially with all that grass just getting plowed up onto the dash. Elliott quickly got around Truex after Kurt Busch went wide into the grass, and now the pressure is on Christopher Bell. Bell is the race leader, but Elliott has got to be the guy to beat right now. I mean, he just charged through those guys on the restart. I thought Truex was going to put up a fight for position. Maybe Truex is saving his tires, perhaps, but Chase Elliott is just charging through the field. It's going to be a little harder to pass the driver with the clean air, which is Christopher Bell, especially if he tries to make a pass in the infield portion of the racetrack, but if anybody could, it's likely going to be Chase Elliott. The Kyle Busch watch continues as Kyle Busch is up to 7th place after dropping to the back, so I guess you could look out for him as well. He did win on the Clash Daytona Road Course a week and a half ago, so watch Kyle if he can get himself in position here. We'll have 30 laps to go this time by. It looks like this race might end up finishing under the lights. 30 to go, just over a 3.5 mile road course. Big bounces off the curbs by both the 20 and the 9, exiting the front stretch chicane. Bell beats Elliott back to the gas. Christopher Bell has put on an incredible performance. Was not expecting him to have this good of a day. Look at how hard into turn 1 Elliott charges to the back bumper of Bell, and they are side by side going into the S's, battling for the lead, and no battle really as Elliott made that look easy. Chase Elliott to the lead once again at the Daytona Road Course after winning stage 1. Keselowski is around. The third time today, Keselowski has either missed the chicane or has spun. Yep. Kurt Busch got right into the back of Keselowski in turn 1, and Brad goes around, so I guess it wasn't Brad's fault that time. Looked like Ty Dillon might have checked up a little more than what Brad anticipated, and Kurt Busch could not get off the gas or on the brakes in time to keep from getting into the back of Keselowski. Kurt Busch is wearing that left rear corner panel out on McDowell, battling as Kurt tries to get back through the field after sliding into the grass, losing the lead earlier. Fox is on a commercial break as we speak. Discount Brad spins again, indeed. Yeah, again, it's behind a little bit. I figured it would be because I'm on Hulu. I don't have cable. And if I did have cable, then you would be able to watch this race on Hot Mic and actually watch the race with my commentary, but again, I don't have cable. We tried that out on Friday night with our test stream with the Truck Series, and that was the case. Down in the comments section below, what are your thoughts on the race? Up to this point, 2 stages are complete. Got just less than 30 laps to go overall. How's your guys' fantasy teams doing? I haven't really checked the lead too much. I don't know how AJ Allmendinger's stacked up so far back on the restart, but currently Blaney on my bench, or in my garage I should say, is currently scoring more points. So that is not good for my sake. Check the live race results. Yeah, so I got 4 guys in the top 7 right now, so that's good. And then my garage driver is ahead of Allmendinger, which is Blaney, so not getting scored for that, unfortunately. Andrew Hollenbach currently leads. Yeah, it is very tight. Pretty much the top 4. Well, I mean, even back to R6. It's only or I should say Ravish. AJ too fast for exiting pit road. Gotcha. I did not see that. Again, I have the broadcast on, but it's very quiet in my ear. Because otherwise it'd be hard for me to speak with somebody talking in my ear constantly. So I should say 3 people constantly repeating stuff in my ear. Daniel Suarez having a pretty good run. Now I know he stayed out of the pits under that last restart, but he's still in 11th. And he was running right around 15th most of the day. That new team owned by Justin Marks and Pitbull. So although Elliott was able to get around Bell, Christopher Bell is only 1.3 seconds off the lead. So he's somewhat keeping pace with Chase. Christopher Bell is really, really surprising me today. I did not realize Bell was going to run this well. If I would have known that, I would have put him as a sleeper pick. Eric Almirola is definitely proving me wrong right now, too, as he is running ninth. Now, he didn't get any stage points, so he's just now inside the top 10 for the first time. But Almirola comes into the day with only 1 top 10 in the last 7 races on points-paying road courses. If you count the Busch Clash, I guess it would be one of the last 8. But we're not going to count the Clash because it's not a points race. Kyle Busch up to 6th. It looks like Kyle's closing in on both Denny Hamlin and Logano ahead of him in 4th and 5th. Yeah, Ravish, I mean, when I just checked at least, you were only, 30, 31, 39? No, wait, do my math here right. Yeah, 39 points back. That's not a lot, honestly. Problem is I bet a lot of our fantasy teams probably have a lot of the same guys. There's really only so many you can pick for the road courses. And it's still early in the season, so you have pretty much everybody available on your fantasy teams. Next commercial break, we'll take a rundown of the field for the final time and check out where all of our highlighted drivers are running. Starts sliding around so much in the bus stop. It's fun to watch. A lot of damage on the left front of Bubba Wallace's car. got tape on it. We saw him lock the tires up on the front stretch chicane earlier, but did not see that coming. Ryan Blaney is very, very well disappointed me today. How well he ran in the Clash and how well he's run on road courses over the last couple seasons, I did not expect this. I expected at least a top 10 run today. And 0 stage points and currently in 17th is not a good run for my favorite driver, Ryan Blaney. Yeah, it's definitely a home run. Oh, and Almirola goes wide. He was running in 9th place, and Almirola has spun in turn 3. Looks like there's some damage on the front of Almirola's car. I believe he might have ran into the back of somebody, which caused him to spin. Heavy damage right around the radiator of Almirola's car. Almirola was running 9th, exceeding my expectations, and now is back to 18th. Right back to about where I guess I thought I would have saw him running. Bubba Wallace is bad on road courses. He is really bad on road courses. Fox running the side-by-side right now with 25 laps to go, but now is where we'll take a rundown of the field as I mentioned that we would do. There's only 25 laps left, so I guess it's a good time to do it. So here is our Stage 3 rundown. Again, Chase Elliott won Stage 1, Denny Hamlin won Stage 2. And the top 10 runs like this with Chase Elliott leading, Christopher Bell second, Martin Truex Jr. third, Joey Logano fourth, and Kyle Busch rounds out the top 5. Denny Hamlin sixth, Kyle Larson seventh, Kevin Harvick eighth, Cole Custer ninth, and William Byron rounds out the top 10 right now. Of the spotlighted drivers, sleeper pick, William Byron in the top 10, having a good run there. My must-haves of Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin are all in the top 6, so kind of what I expected was those guys to contend for top 5s, and that is the case here today. Another sleeper pick, Eric Jones, running 13th. I told you guys mentioned, and that is after he had blown a left rear tire earlier in the race. What a comeback by Eric Jones in the 43. Finished 8th in the Clash. Finished top 5 at the Daytona Road Course last season with Joe Gibbs, and having a good run here today. Great comeback performance. Austin Dillon, slightly exceeding my expectations here today, at least with scoring stage points at Stage 1, but I told you guys not to pick him for the fantasy lineup today, and he's not in the top 10 anymore. Didn't score a stage point Stage 2 either, so yes, unless Austin Dillon can do something here late, kind of expected something similar of that to happen. Eric Almirola was just running 9th, but obviously we saw him spin. He's got damage now, so running 18th. And fading, A.J. Allmendinger was one of my sleeper picks. He was running well for the first 2 stages, but found himself back in traffic. He is currently 20th. We saw Kurt Busch spin while leading at the beginning of Stage 3. He's in 22nd, though I didn't really mention him for anything. And Ryan Blaney, one of my sleeper picks, is 33rd right now. Actually 36th. I think he just pitted. So Ryan Blaney may have short pitted. And if he didn't short pit, then there is a major problem with Ryan Blaney. Oh, I missed the seagull. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do if we tie, Tyler, as far as maybe trying to get you on the predictions episode for next week. I don't know how we're going to do that if there is a tie. We'll have to figure out a tiebreaker. Because we have the same exact team except for maybe the bonus picks, but even the bonus could be the same too. Yes, indeed. Kyle Busch up to fourth. I think this race is moving along pretty fast. He had 2 cautions for incident in stage 1, 1 caution for incident in stage 2, so only 3 cautions for incident total. Little lockup of the rear tires there for Chase Elliott getting into turn 1. Gonna have to be careful. He didn't lock him up too much, but man, he's led 34 of 47 laps so far today. That is unbelievable. Obviously, he started on the pole, but Christopher Bell is closing that gap after Elliott slid the tires into turn 1. Could we be seeing a first ever winner in the Cup Series here today? 2 weeks in a row to start the season. Could you imagine 2 drivers getting their first career wins with Michael McDowell winning the Daytona 500 and Christopher Bell winning today on the road course? I definitely didn't see Bell winning this thing. Yeah, if there's a tie, they should be on the show. I was kind of thinking that. I feel like that'd be fair. Instead of saying I get the tiebreaker. I think the tiebreaker should be if you predict the winner, and then if you're still tied, which I think he picked Chase Elliott to win anyway, because he was my pick. So, yeah, if there is a tie, I guess we'll still bring Tyler on the show anyway. As long as nobody else obviously wins ahead of us. Multiple people tie, I have zero clue how that's going to go. Yeah, Martin Truex Jr. is really, really fading. He's nearly 7 seconds off the race lead. And yes, Kyle Busch is only about a second behind Truex for third. What a comeback for Kyle Busch. 22 laps to go. And Christopher Bell is still right there on Chase Elliott. He is less than a second off the lead. Fox showing a replay of Kurt Busch getting into the back of Ricky Stenhouse. Guess nothing major happened. I thought he was going to spin or something the way they were talking it up, but I mean, that happens all the way around this track. Chase Briscoe with a good comeback performance. He spun in the opening laps as well. He's currently in 12th. Yeah, Blaney had to have pit already because he's more than a minute off the lead, unless he's got damage that Fox didn't mention. Also, Fox hasn't done a crank it up yet today, and I'm a little upset that they haven't done a crank it up. There's only 22 laps left. They got to do it at some point. I know it's a road course, but they usually still do the crank it up. Unless they did it and I wasn't paying attention, but I've been watching the whole race. So. Yeah, Austin Dillon trying to chase that first career top 15 on a road course. 15 career road course races in the Cup Series, 0 top 15s. But looking for his first today, maybe he can contend for a top 10. Very, very impressive. And I'm sure running not only the Busch Clash here on the Daytona road course, but also running the Rolex 24 has helped him into that. How is that going to progress on other road course races this season, though? I'm not entirely sure. But obviously the practice makes perfect for today, or at least about as perfect as Austin Dillon could be on a road course today. Yeah, so the race summary, 6 leaders, 8 lead changes, 37 cars on the lead lap still, and only 3 cautions for incidents, not counting the 2 stage breaks. Oh, Logano wide, and Hamlin will take over the 5th place position. Kyle Larson now to put pressure on Logano. Getting back up onto oval turns 1 and 2 is where that pass took place. Larson all over the back of Logano into the bus stop as these 3 cars are still under a blanket, all battling for 5th. And Larson puts the bumper to Logano back into oval 3 and 4, saying, hey, let me by. I think I'm a little faster. And Logano going to let Larson go. Kyle Larson up to 6th. Great day for him. Hendrick Motorsports does have 3 cars inside the top 10, and now Martin Truex Jr. is on pit road. So Truex going to short pit from the 4th position. 3rd position, rather. Kyle Busch just got around him because Truex came to pit road. So Truex from 3rd place, about 8 seconds off the lead, decides to short pit. The fuel window is 20 to 22 laps, so these guys can make it on fuel to the end of the race from here. So yes, a lot of drivers starting to pit as that window opens up. Might see some of the leaders like Christopher Bell and Chase Elliott maybe decide not to pit until the halfway point in the stage. Which when we went green to start this final stage, we had 32 laps of green flag racing. Elliott slowly starting to gap Christopher Bell once more. Sky becoming darker, but this time no look of a threat of rain or anything of that nature. It is the nighttime sky at Daytona Beach. This race looking like, again, it should finish under the lights. 19 laps to go this time. Fox showed a stat of Parnelli Jones there. Interesting, I guess it's not a fact, but interesting thing with Parnelli Jones. My grandpa, big open wheel guy, sprint car racer. Parnelli Jones, racing in the early days of open wheel racing, was a pretty good dirt racer as well. And he always nicknamed me Parnelli. I don't know if it's necessarily he nicknamed me that, but he called me that a lot when I was younger, when I was racing, or something like I'd be over at their house like, hey, Parnelli, or something like that. So that's how I knew who Parnelli Jones was, or the first I had known of Parnelli Jones. Raced a lot in IndyCar, too, back in the 50s and 60s. So again, cycling through green flag pit stops, a large majority of the field has come down to pit road, but that excludes the top two of Chase Elliott and Christopher Bell, as well as third place Kyle Busch. Denny Hamlin still on the track in fourth, has not pit. And I believe you have to go all the way back to Martin Truex Jr. in eighth before you find the first driver that has hit pit road. And even some drivers mixed in between him and, say, Kyle Larson in 10th have not pitted. I don't believe Chris Buescher or Kurt Busch have hit pit road yet. We'll see if Elliott or Bell come down to pit road this time. Starlin Dixon, welcome to the stream. AJ Short pitted as well, yes. But Christopher Bell, Chase Elliott follow each other onto pit road. We'll see who will cycle out as the leader. Elliott had about a 1 second lead on Bell at the time of them coming to pit road, so let's see how much this can go. Remember, Chase Elliott had a slow stop earlier in the race. Kyle Busch also on pit road. Obvious four-tire changes here with 18 laps to go and being under green flag on a road course nonetheless. And Chase Elliott, by quite a ways, is going to beat Christopher Bell off of pit road. We'll see how far back Kyle Busch might fall after staying on a little longer than some guys like Truex that pitted running in positions around him, Larson as well. Hamlin on pit road. So Chase Elliott never lost the lead through the cycling and pit stops. One of the last guys to pit, him and Bell, and they were the first two to come out of the pits. Now, Truex, who was 8 seconds off the lead, pitted about 2 to 3 laps before these guys. He is now just less than 6 seconds off the lead, so he did gain about 2 to 2.5 seconds of time, but obviously that is not enough to cut into this. It's going to take major adjustments for Truex under that stop to really be competitive enough to keep up with Chase Elliott and Christopher Bell, or maybe a late race caution as well. And Truex is in third place ahead of Kyle Busch. Again, he pitted a couple laps before him, so that definitely helped. Do you think Kyle Busch might have a chance to win? He definitely has a chance to win, but he's probably going to need a caution to do it. Without a caution, Chase Elliott's the guy to beat right now, but Christopher Bell is a very close second, believe it or not. Bell lost time on pit road to Elliott there, but he is not that far off the lead, and it is raining at Daytona, people. It is raining at the Daytona International Speedway on the backstretch. Dark skies covering 3 and 4. I called it earlier where it looked like it was getting darker before Fox had even mentioned something, and it is raining. And this is right after pit stops. And boy, has this race just turned on its edge. Caution is out. Or it should be. The caution should waive. I believe the rule is, unless they start the race on rain tires, if it does rain, they need to throw a caution. The wind has picked up. The rain is falling at Daytona. Who will pit perhaps for rain tires? And I think the smart move now is to pit for the rain tires before the caution comes out. And how long will this rain stay? Caution is not waving. Yeah, caution is not out. Maybe they changed the rule this offseason. I know last season, and I wonder if some guys might try to just stay out there on slicks anyway, hoping that this rain maybe passes by a little sooner. So throw a wrench in the strategy. Rain is falling at Daytona, and they are still racing here in the Cup Series. Ryan Preece going wide. There's a huge chunk of traffic all battling for position just inside the top 20. It is optional. It's not like they have to take rain tires. But how much rain are they going to get? As the teams rush behind the pit wall to grab the rain tires just in case they do need them. And a lot of this Cup Series field has never raced in the rain. Outside of the end of or I should say the beginning of the Charlotte Roval in 2020, where we had rain tires at the start, but it wasn't actually raining. Rainbow is out on the backstretch. The rain is falling. Not a heavy rain, but it is raining nonetheless. Well, now it looks like the rain is starting to pick up. It wasn't raining hard initially, but it is raining pretty heavily now. Okay, so Mike Joy just explained the rule. If the track is completely wet, I guess it has to be completely wet for NASCAR to throw the caution. And it was only raining in a certain area of the racetrack. Of course, the oval itself at Daytona is 2.5 miles. The road course is 3.5, but 2.5 miles in length for the oval. So it very well could only be raining on one side of the racetrack and the other side could be completely dry. Which also makes it interesting if drivers decide to take rain tires. But it is definitely pouring, at least in oval turns 1 and 2 and most of the infield portion. Kurt Busch sliding around a lot in the infield. A lot of these drivers are sliding around. Again, it is raining pretty heavily in the infield. In oval turns 1 and 2. 3 and 4 looks pretty dry for the most part. Nobody has gone wide or have spun because of the rain so far. It looks to be fairly clear down the backstretch. Meanwhile, Chase Elliott has about a 2.5 second lead now over Christopher Bell. With 15 laps to go at the Daytona road course. The sun does look like it's starting to peek out a little bit more. Depending on how damp that infield portion of the track is, it can definitely cause havoc, even just that little bit of rain. With most of these drivers, if not all of them, on slicks. Most of the top 10 has not changed, yes, as I saw in the chat. I'm trying not to read the chat under green flag conditions again because you guys are a little bit ahead of me. That and the stream is also itself delayed. From when I'm talking, it's going to be about a 10 to 15 second delay to what's actually coming up on YouTube. Caution. 6th of the race, 4th for incident or other, excluding the stage breaks, with 14 laps to go, while Chase Elliott is leading. And talk about an odd finish here to Daytona. These guys are good on fuel to the end, so if they decide not to pit and keep the slick tires or put fresher slick tires on, they don't need fuel. Just think of you guys as time travelers. Yeah, I'm trying. That's why I don't like reading the chat during green flag conditions. Because, I mean, you guys, it's very easy for you guys to spoil what actually happens for me, and I don't want that, especially with not only myself watching the race, but obviously doing the realistic broadcast. I don't want to know what happens. Make it more natural of a call. This race is flying by, though. Only 14 laps to go, and what, drop of the green flag was less than 2.5 hours ago as of right now still? Almost at 2.5 hour mark. Very interesting pit call coming up for the Crews. Again, yeah, we saw this during the Charlotte Roval last year towards the end of Stage 1. Remember, Ty Dillon, for Germain Racing at the time, scored a stage win at the Charlotte Roval because he had put slick tires on under a caution in Stage 1 when everybody else stayed under rain tires because the track was still in some parts damp. But as the track was drying up, the rubber was eating away very, very fast on those drivers that had the rain tires versus the drivers that had the slick tires. And that is what you're going to see here. I think a lot of these drivers are likely going to take fresh slick tires or not pit at all, which I would imagine you should probably pit anyway. I think everybody will come to pit road here, but I don't think everybody's going to take rain tires. If you're at the rear of the field, why not take rain tires? You got nothing to lose. And we saw how much of a difference it made for even Ty Dillon last year at the Charlotte Roval. As far as the tires went. I mean, he was a couple seconds a lap faster. That's how much of a difference it makes, depending on what tire compound you have. But, yeah, if you have the old tires... Or sorry, not the old tires, but 9 hours like last week. Yeah, we can race in the rain. Thankfully, it's not the Daytona 500 right now, and there'd be a rain delay with 14 laps left. They shouldn't have called that for rain. I think they should have. I think it's a good call to throw the caution. That's the rule. And it was raining pretty heavily on some parts of the racetrack. I know they said something about the complete track being wet, but I think most drivers are going to take slick tires, but everybody will likely come... Oh, okay, we got a couple drivers staying out. Joey Logano stays out of the pits. He'll restart from the lead. I don't like that decision for Logano, though. So slicks going on the 20 of Christopher Bell. Slick tires going on for Chase Elliott. Slick tires as well for Truex. So again, most of the field taking slicks. And Christopher Bell wins the race off pit road. Elliott's crew fails him again as Chase Elliott, who lost 5 spots on a pit stop back in stage 2, has lost 3 spots under this pit stop. Christopher Bell wins the race off pit road. Larson gains 2 spots, coming out third. Now, NASCAR will not throw another caution if the rain picks up. Yeah, Bell and Larson definitely have a lot of potential. They're showing it early just by this race alone today. More road courses on the schedule to come. I expected Larson to have a decent performance. I'm going to get my phone on a charger here before it dies. I expected Larson to have a decent performance today, but I didn't expect him to compete for a win here late like he is right now. I mean, again, a couple drivers stayed out. I don't think that's going to work out. I understand the thought behind staying out, but I just don't think it's the right call. Because even if you didn't go with rain tires, which most of the field, if not all of it, chose slicks, you still got to come down and get fresh tires because there is way too many laps left in this race. Lights are out on the pace car, so Logano will lead the field to the green. Chase Briscoe will line up in second. Kurt Busch, Chris Buescher will be in row 2. Corey LaJoie, Brad Keselowski, row 3. Bubba Wallace, James Davidson, row 4. Garrett Smithley, Cody Ware, row 5. Josh Bilicki, 11th. And the first driver on fresh tires is Christopher Bell back in 12th. We'll have 12 laps to go when we go green. And if we've seen some crazy restarts early in this race, but I do not live in Wisconsin. No, I live in Northwest Ohio, but I am a Packers fan. Yeah, I got to plug my phone in. Sorry if I can't get to the chat right away. Now, granted, again, under green flag conditions, that Fox actually shows the coverage. I try not to read the chat, especially because you guys are a little bit ahead of me, it looks like. But under cautions, I usually try to. But they are coming up for the restart. That, and I got my phone on the charger behind me here. I was at 1%. I didn't want to lose the chat completely. Crank it up. Yes, they have not cranked it up yet. They need to crank it up on this restart. Unfortunately, though, because we don't have the actual coverage shown on your guys' screens here on YouTube, I will still be broadcasting it. So 11 drivers staying out. A lot of them are back markers. LaJoie, Ware, Bilicki, Smithley. This is going to jack up the restart in the middle of the pack as Joey Logano will lead the field to the green on old tires. 12 laps to go at the Daytona road course. Damage on the front of Briscoe's car. Buescher in 4th. Pretty good road course racer. He's done well today. Logano leads the field into turn 1. We've seen some guys overcook it before. The track is a little bit wet. Larson gaining a ton of ground on the outside. 2 and 3 wide in the middle of the pack. Through the S's, there's a little bit of contact. Seemingly everybody made it. And Logano has the lead into turn 3. Tyler Reddick has gone wide. And he has picked up one of the signs, and Elliott's in the grass! Chase Elliott is in the grass, sliding around. Back under the racetrack as he loses about a half a dozen spots. And that is the problem with these slick tires on a damp racetrack. As Elliott goes wide in the infield portion, gets it back on the racetrack, didn't damage the splitter, and now we have a car on fire. Tyler Reddick has gone up in flames. He went off the track and hit one of the signs, and I believe he started overheating. Reddick is in flames, and we have another caution. Our 5th for incident or rain today. So some pretty big flames on Tyler Reddick. And he is getting out. Seems to be all right. Tyler Reddick's mediocre day, unfortunately, will come to an end. So we saw him go wide. He was the only driver that went wide, but it wasn't necessarily in turn 1. It was more in the S's when they were 3 and nearly 4 wide. McDowell clipped the grass as well. Wow, yeah, that was a big hit, tearing the splitter apart. A little contact perhaps with Corey LaJoie and Chase Elliott, which sent Elliott wide in the grass. Denny Hamlin was in the grass a little bit too, but only 2 tires versus Elliott had 4 tires in the grass. Canadian Bacon, welcome. Christopher Bell is doing great. Have 4 to go in stage 2, so don't spoil it. Well, we're doing a realistic broadcast here, so we're going to have to, unfortunately, spoil it. But caution is out right now with just over 10 laps to go. The fan favorite, maybe the most people would think actual favorite for today's race, Chase Elliott, a little wide on the restart. Now he's going to be in the middle of the pack, which is where we've seen 3 and 4 wide pretty consistently on the restarts. Logano still in the lead. This is the final stage. Again, Chase Elliott won stage 1. Denny Hamlin was the winner of stage 2. Great run for Corey LaJoie here today in 8th. Now, he did stay out of the pits under that last caution, so he does have older tires. I don't expect him to stay in the top 10, but if we keep getting caution after caution here late, that could change. Well, I predicted that we would probably have a late race caution. The way the race started with a tire blowouts and people overcooking the corners, but as we have become more accustomed into the depths of this race, that has lessened. And I think a lot of those overrunning of the corners came because there were no practice or qualifying this week, quite simply, causing drivers to overrun the corners. Jackson Thomas, welcome. I am doing great. Chat saying that AJ Allmendinger has a flat tire. AJ might have very well had some contact in the middle of the pack. Fortunately, when he lost his track position at the end of stage 2, due to not pitting there, we saw how much that costed him. And yes, the left rear tire is flat on AJ Allmendinger's car, so that is fortunate for AJ. He was having a pretty good day. I still don't know what happened to Ryan Blaney and why he is 31st. Fox has not shown why he dropped so far back. I noticed it midway through stage 3 that he all of a sudden was outside the top 30 under that green flag run. I have no clue why. And Fox, again, has not mentioned what has happened to him. Now, he wasn't necessarily one of the front runners either. But with him being my favorite driver and on my fantasy team, I'd like to know what happened. Yes, you can get fantasy points for AJ Allmendinger. Fantasy has nothing to do with... I mean, he's still getting, like... Although he's not actually getting driver points for this race, he is still getting... He's still getting points nonetheless. Like owner's points. The car's still getting owner's points. The only bright side with taking AJ if he doesn't have a good finish at the end of today's race is that At least he didn't waste a start for anybody else. But obviously, I think he would have rather have done that than scoring minimal points. Because remember, AJ did not score stage points in stage 1, and he only scored 2 in stage 2 because he stayed out on old tires with 5 to go in the restart. Lights are out on the pace car. We'll be going green with 10 laps to go. Joey Logano is going to lead the field to the green with Chase Briscoe in second. Rookie Chase Briscoe making his second career start. The first driver on fresh tires is Christopher Bell in sixth. Now, Kurt Busch is in third. I don't know if he's got fresh tires or not. He might have fresh tires. I'm not entirely sure, but the top two, the drivers on the front row of Logano and Briscoe, definitely have old tires. The infield is still a little damp. That is why you saw Tyler Reddick go wide, as well as Chase Elliott on the last restart. Elliott restarts in 14th. Kyle Busch in 15th. Hamlin in 13th. Keep an eye on those guys. Green flag back in the air at the Daytona road course. Bubba Wallace trying to go 3 wide to the outside. On Corey LaJoie and Kyle Larson into turn 1. Truex overruns it, and Truex goes around in front of the middle of the pack. Cars are checking up to try and miss him. He goes wide. Cole Custer, his teammates involved. Blaney, Byron, also going wide. We stay green. Truex overcooked it on the restart. He had fresher tires, but the damp racetrack obviously did not help. Logano holds on to the lead with Kurt Busch in second place all over his back bumper. Keselowski overcooking the tires. I've seen him do that a lot today, but he is in the front running as he's side by side for third. Kyle Larson in the top 5. Might be one of the favorites to win this race going late. Caution is out. Not sure what the caution is out for, but the caution is out. Unless somebody stalled after a bunch of cars went wide trying to miss Martin Truex Jr. Unfortunately, into his teammate Bell after going a little long into the corner in front of the pack. Stack up. Some other cars got minor damage, but I don't think anybody came out with major damage. Truex was just sliding the tires all the way into turn 1. Still no word by NASCAR on what the caution was for. It looked like everybody got back to running perfectly fine. Now, Truex could have a flat tire and could have shedded debris. If that's the case, then that would likely be the caution. But there was no debris on the racetrack after Truex spun initially. And the only 2 drivers that were completely around were the 19 and the 77, and they got back going pretty quickly. And Logano again benefiting with these laps being ran under caution on older tires. Corey LaJoie's got some pretty heavy damage. It looks like his left front is pretty well rubbed, and he'll have to come to pit road. Oh, wow, he's got heavy damage on the right rear as well. Again, Norfox or NASCAR has really indicated what the caution is for yet. There are cars with damage, but no sign of actual debris. They're currently showing a replay right now, but nothing is going on during the replay. Chase Elliott's got some pretty heavy damage right on his front bumper, right around the radiator, similar to the damage on the 14. of Chase Briscoe, and the tough luck on the Daytona road course over the last couple weeks continues for Martin Truex Jr. There goes the fantasy team. And anybody new in the chat? We got 10 people watching right now. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Something that came off a car. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know what it was. Like, I didn't see anything on the replay. Yeah, if Chase Elliott did that intentionally with Corey LaJoie, that was a bad call. It ended both of their... Well, I mean, Elliott still scored in 10th right now, but LaJoie obviously had to come to pit road. And Corey was in the top 10. Inspire Motorsports equipment, nonetheless. Honestly, of the drivers that are at the front of the field right now, I look at Kyle Larson as being the driver to beat. Unless Kurt Busch can quickly get around Logano on the restart, but he's going to be on the outside, and we haven't really seen the outside work well on the front row on the restarts all day. They'll be going green with 8 laps to go this time. Indeed, hit that like button if you haven't already. We got the 13 so far. We had a lot of people watching the truck race, but again, I think that was because it was on FS1, so I might have to keep that in mind. I'd have to keep that in mind with races going forward of maybe only doing the Cup races if they're on FS1 or NBCSN when NBC takes over USA Network whenever that ends up coming into play too, because with this being on cable television, I think that's why our views are down today compared to what they were for the truck race on Friday night. Trey, welcome to the stream. Welcome. A lot of tire problems today at the Daytona road course. Rain played a little bit of a factor with bringing out that caution, which stacked the field up to begin with. Chase Elliott, back in traffic after his pit crew let him down for the second time today, was in the lead at the time of that caution with 14 laps to go. They keep saying Ryan Blaney gave Chastain contact, but there's still no official word that Blaney got into Chastain, because there's no damage on Blaney's car from that. I'm not saying that because I'm a Blaney's fan. There really was no clear evidence that Blaney even made contact with him. He was around him, so they assumed that there was contact, and then Boyer mentioned, oh, there's probably a little bit of red paint on the front of his bumper, and there was no red paint on his bumper. I don't know what Clint was talking about there. He was probably, again, just, assuming it, which could be obvious because, again, they were racing around. I understand that, but boy, Chase Elliott's had a wonky last 14 laps. Logano leads the field to the green on older tires. Fresh tires on the outside, Kurt Busch and Keselowski, and Briscoe trying to give Logano a push on the restart as Logano slides the tires. Briscoe looks to go 3 wide to the inside. Logano with a block. Larson up the middle between Keselowski and Briscoe, and Larson's up to third. Joey Logano to the lead somehow after sliding the tires on the restart. Double file. William Byron, 3 wide with Briscoe and Keselowski. Sorry, that's Christopher Bell. Bell looked really, really good early on. Led some laps at one point, was running second behind Elliott before the caution for rain. With 14 to go. Keselowski, Bell side by side for fourth. Side by side for second. Keselowski again slides the tires as he's done most of the day. Allows him to clear Bell, but Bell had to go wide and try to avoid. Larson with a slide job, and he's in the tire wall. Larson went for second place. He's in the tire wall, and his chances at a win are now gone. What a tough break for Kyle Larson. Larson got underneath of Kurt Busch in the 1 and actually cleared him. But again, the track is still damp in the infield, and that caused Larson to go wide and into the tire wall, but we stay green. He corrected it. No debris. Let him race. Logano on those older tires, though, I don't see him being able to hold on to the lead. But with Larson going wide, it has bought Logano just a little bit of time. Larson was having such a great day, scored stage points in both stages, was in the top 10 all day and had a chance, but slid after passing Kurt Busch for second into the tire wall. A lot of damage to the right rear of his race car. Battle for second between Christopher Bell and Kurt Busch continues. Kyle Busch in the wall on the front stretch chicane. No caution. But if there's debris on the track, there will likely be a caution. As Kyle Busch has gone around for the second time today, adding even more damage in that car. Has some pretty significant damage. There's no official sign of a caution. It's going to depend on if there's debris on the racetrack. They were almost 4 wide. They were 4 wide going through the tri-oval. Austin Dillon, Chase Briscoe, Kyle Busch, and there was another car on the outside, which led to the contact. It looked like Busch just kind of got hooked on the 3 of Dillon. Kurt Busch. Bell battling hard. Bell tried to put the bumper to Busch, and now Bell has damage on the right front after trying to use the bumper on Kurt Busch. There's a tire rub on the 20. And that tire is not going to last for 7 laps with that kind of a rub. Chase Elliott charging on the restart as he gets around Denny Hamlin into the bus stop. I don't think Bell's right front tire is going to make it to the finish. Logano still has the lead. Elliott now trying to get around Keselowski. Brad blocking him in oval turns 3 and 4 as they battle for 4th. Again, the tire rub was because the 20 got into the back of the 1 of Kurt Busch trying to make a pass, getting into oval turns 1 and 2. And despite some of these guys on fresher tires behind, Logano is not able to get to the front. Bubba Wallace overcooking the tires. Not a good day for Toyota late. You had Truex spinning on the second to last restart we've had up to this point. Kyle Busch was in the wall on the front stretch a lap ago. Christopher Bell now has a tire rub running in 3rd, and I don't think that right front is going to make it these final 6 laps. Elliott and Keselowski battling hard for 4th. Brad does not want to give the spot up. Brad slides the tires a little too much, and that's going to allow Elliott to get back alongside of him again. Brad Keselowski has struggled all day in turn 3, and really even into both the bus stop and the chicane at times as well, but somehow, after sliding the tires, Keselowski is still hanging on, and now Brad's in the grass. And he locks the tires up again, trying to hold off the 9 of Elliott. Hamlin into the back of Elliott. His tires are just sliding all over the infield right now, and cars are sliding all over. Bell and Kurt Busch continue to go for battle, and Elliott goes around! Did Hamlin put the bumper to Elliott? Chase Elliott is around! And all of these favorites are now falling out of contention late. The door is wide open for anyone to win this, and Bell, if that tire makes it, has got to get around Kurt Busch because Logano was pulling away. It was just a jammed session there. Keselowski checked up. Almost kind of brake checked Chase Elliott. And when Keselowski checked up Elliott, the 11 ran into the back of the 9. The 14 ran in the back of the 11. That was not Denny Hamlin's fault. He tried to check up like everybody else did in front of him. There were 4 cars all bumper to bumper, all making contact. And with 5 laps to go, on older tires, Joey Logano finds himself in the lead. Yes, Allmendinger all of a sudden is back up to 9th somehow. Michael McDowell is in 7th place after starting 2nd, running wide on lap 1, having a flat tire. Christopher Bell up to 2nd, getting around Kurt Busch. Now, can Bell run down Logano to get his first career win? Bell is quickly running away from Busch. Remember, Bell was running a very close 2nd to Chase Elliott before these cautions started coming in the late going. There's a lap car in front of Logano that might be out of the way here, I would assume, and it's Austin Dillon, who is the lap car. We'll see if he'll let him go or if he'll fight to try and stay on the lead lap in case we get another caution late. Briscoe going to go wide. Bowman going to get around him. Bowman into the top 10. Heavy damage on the front of Briscoe's car. There's a lot of oil off the front of the 14. Cars are sliding. They have to throw the caution. They need to throw the caution here with the oil being spread on the backstretch. And if they don't throw the yellow, this might end up turning into a Watkins Glen 2012 finish. There were some definite cars sliding, trying to get around Briscoe, and was having such a good run late. Yeah, heavy damage on the radiator, and now the hood flying up right on the windshield, and Briscoe's trying to make his way to pit road. No, he stays out again. Briscoe did not come to pit road that time, nor did I think he knew where pit road was, trying to drive with the hood up in front of the windshield. And Christopher Bell is closing in on Joey Logano. He's 2 seconds behind Joey. Sorry, just over 2 seconds behind Joey. The craziness of this race in the late stage is, well, the late stage itself. And it all started when the caution came out for rain with 14 laps to go. But Bell is closing in on Logano with Joey Logano having older tires. And Bell, pretty much of the top 5, might have the fastest car. I think you look at Hamlin as being a contender if we get another caution as well, as Hamlin has just gotten around Keselowski for 4th. And Michael McDowell is closing in on that group of Harvick, Hamlin, and Keselowski as well. Can McDowell get back-to-back top 5s to start the season? Again, try not to look at the chat here in the late going so that way I don't get spoiled on the finish. If we get a caution, I will look. Does Bell have enough time to get to Logano is going to be the issue. Bubba Wallace off the racetrack as well after going wide into turn 1. And again, the Toyotas have just not fared well late. Outside of the fact that Bell is still on the track despite the fact he had heavy damage on the right front. Or at least a tire rub on the right front. But that tire is still intact, and he is running down Logano. He's less than 2 seconds off the lead from trying to get his first career win. Hamlin makes a pass for third on Kurt Busch. Back onto the oval in turns 1 and 2. Don't count Hamlin out of it if somehow Bell can get to Logano and they have trouble. Much like Blaney and Elliott in the clash a week and a half ago. Less than 2.5 laps left for Joey Logano to try and win at the Daytona road course. After leading on the final lap of the Daytona 500 last week before throwing a block and getting involved in a big fiery crash on turn 3 coming to the checkered flag, Logano looking for redemption today. And what a strategy call from Paul Wolfe as well to keep Logano out on the track on old tires, because it is actually panning out when we have not seen it pan out for anybody all day leading up to that point. 2 laps to go at the line. But Bell is closing fast on Joey Logano, and we are setting up for a wild finish at the Daytona road course. Hamlin not gaining much on Logano. He's still about 5.5 off the lead. Christopher Bell drives it hard into turn 3. He is only about 3 to 4 car lengths behind Logano. Closing very fast now into the kink. Hamlin running faster laps than Joey Logano as well, but not as fast as the man in second, Christopher Bell, who is all over the back bumper of Logano. Will he use the bumper, and will that right front make it with the tie rub he had laps ago? Logano slides the tires back onto the oval into turns 1 and 2. Bell getting a draft. Braking heavily into the bus stop. Logano maybe having brake issues like Blaney in the clash as his car was sparking heavily into the bus stop, and Bell has a shot. Bell looks high, looks low. Logano is blocking Christopher Bell all the way up the racetrack and almost blocks him into the wall. Bell is on the outside now, side by side into the front stretch chicane. Who will win into the braking zone? This is going to be tough. Logano trying to back the corner up. And he can't do it. Christopher Bell to the lead, coming to the white flag. Christopher Bell is 1 lap away from getting his first career win. Logano hard into turn 1, trying to get back to him. But does he have the tires to do it? Older tires on the 22 of Logano. Surprise! Upset if Bell can hold on with just over a half a lap remaining. Into turn 3, Bell goes a little wide, overcooking the corner, and Logano again closes in slightly, but Bell might have beat him back to the gas regardless. A lot of pressure on the second-year driver, Christopher Bell. Now back onto the oval. At least in oval turns 1 and 2. A bus stop and a chicane away for Christopher Bell from getting his first career win in the NASCAR Cup Series. He is absolutely pulled away from Logano with fresher tires. William Byron is slow on the backstretch. He's got major sparks and maybe even flames coming up from under his car. Bell into the bus stop. And Logano can't really do much to close in without a mistake from Christopher Bell. Bell now off of oval turn 4. And into the front stretch chicane. First career win for Christopher Bell at the Daytona road course, a surprise winner nonetheless. And in our first 2 races of the year, we have 2 first-time winners. Christopher Bell has just won on the Daytona road course. Unbelievable. What a weekend for Joe Gibbs Racing. It looks like it is starting to rain again as the race has already waved its checker flag. And Christopher Bell gets his first career NASCAR Cup Series victory. What a show Bell put on here. Was hanging in there with Elliott for the longest time earlier. His pit crew did not have the fastest pit stop, but the caution for rain with 14 laps to go bunched everything back together. Problems in the wet infield for Chase Elliott, the favorite. Martin Truex Jr. overcooking it into turn 1. And Christopher Bell is right there for the taking to get his first career win. Not sure what the caution flag is waving necessarily for, with the race being already over. Didn't seem like anybody else did it. It was raining in the infield again. That might have been why, but it was already raining earlier, so they weren't supposed to throw the caution. But regardless of the fact, Christopher Bell, his first career win, unbelievable. What a race. Unbelievable. Well, if that wasn't a show, ladies and gentlemen. What a great job. Christopher Bell. You always like to see a driver get their first career win, and in the first 2 races of the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series season, we see just that. And I know we're only 2 races into the season, but folks, the playoff bubble is going to be intense in another 24 weeks because we have 2 upset winners to start the year. Most probably would have picked Bell to make the playoffs anyway with his first year with Joe Gibbs Racing, but no bubble watch for him. And what a way for him to get his first career win. Logano put up a fight there with a couple blocks in Oval 3 and 4, knowing that if Bell got around him, the race was over with Logano on the older tires. Stayed out of last due to Bell. Well, they were hyping it as possibly the greatest season ever maybe they were talking about the race winners because, boy, I don't think anybody expected Michael McDowell to win the Daytona 500 and Christopher Bell to win on the Daytona road course to start the year. A lot of the heavy hitters had problems. We'll take a quick rundown of the finishing order of today's race. We'll run through the top 10 and then we'll end the stream here in a couple minutes. For anybody wondering if the Daytona road course was going to make an actual appearance on the schedule again in 2022, not due to COVID, I think the clash and the racing we saw here this weekend might have proved that the Daytona road course might be here to stay for the NASCAR Cup Series. Again, I'm trying to get to NASCAR's app here so I can take a look at the finishing results to today's race. The unofficial results have scored Christopher Bell, the race winner, after, yes, a pretty decent green flag run to the finish. At least the last 8 laps went under green. Joey Logano, great strategy call, though. It still gained them track position, even if it was a second-place run by Paul Wolfe and the rest of the 22 team. So Logano ends up second. Denny Hamlin finishes in third. Kurt Busch had a great run all day. Comes back from going wide in the grass while leading earlier to finishing fourth. Brad Keselowski ends up finishing with a top 5 and fifth, despite the fact that he had spun out and or overbraked in a chicane or butt stop probably 4 or 5 different times today. Kevin Harvick finishes 6th. He gets the last lap, I guess, this season on the Daytona road course after an upsetting performance in the Clash. Quiet day, but a good day for Harvick. AJ Allmendinger finishes 7th, coming back into the Cup Series for a one-off today on the Daytona road course. He was one of my sleeper picks and scored stage points in Stage 2, ran well in Stage 1, and did not run well for most of Stage 3, but the carnage late and the chaos late allowed AJ to get back in the top 10. And how about Michael McDowell? Speaking of him having an upset win, Michael McDowell has scored a top 10 in the first 2 races of the 2021 season. Great run after starting second and really having that flat tire on lap 1. Just an unbelievable comeback performance for him. Ryan Preece, quiet but solid day, finishes 9th after starting in the top 10. So not only Michael McDowell, but Michael McDowell and Ryan Preece both have scored top 10s in each of the first 2 races of the season. Remember, Preece is an uncharted team, not even knowing if they're going to run the full season, and they have 2 top 10s to start the year. And Alex Bowman, who really was a non-factor all day, but got into the top 10 late, finishing and rounding out the top 10. Truex spun earlier. He finished 12th. He was one of the must-haves for the fantasy team. Also, Denny Hamlin was one of the must-haves. He finished 3rd. And Truex was there all day until spinning there on one of the later restarts going into turn 1. Ryan Blaney was one of the sleepers. He ended up 15th, but he was really 15th to 20th most of the race. Eric Almirola was one of the drivers I told you guys not to have. He finished 17th. He did not have a good day outside of being in the top 10 for a whole maybe 5 laps. Eric Jones was a sleeper pick. He finished 14th, so pretty solid run there for RPM today. Not solid enough to necessarily be a good start on a fantasy team. Chase Elliott, one of the must-haves, obviously 21st. Tough break there. Bubba Wallace, one of the don't-haves. Not a good road course racer. Not good today, finishing 26th. Austin Dillon impressed early, but faded late. Got in an accident there on one of the restarts. He finished 34th unofficially. William Byron was another one of the sleeper picks, and he was actually in the top 10 for a large portion of Stage 3, but finishes 33rd. There were sparks and flames that looked like coming out from underneath the car in the last lap, so not sure what happened there. And the only drivers to DNF in today's race were Quinn Houff, Ross Chastain, and I believe Matt DiBenedetto. Actually, Matty D might have came back out on the racetrack because he finished 5 laps down 37th, but at least Reddick, Chastain, and Houff all DNF'd. So 3 total. AJ did have a nice day. Yeah, that is going to wrap it up here for this one. Post-race analysis will be out later tonight. It will be out by the end of the night. I'm not going to work on it immediately. I need to get something to eat here because I have not eaten all day yet. But what a race for sure. And we live streamed the whole race here. So if you wanted my in-depth analysis throughout the course of the race, you pretty much got it. But definitely tune in for that post-race analysis video. And also, yes, who won fantasy this week? And the player that will be coming on the predictions episode for next week's race at Homestead Miami Speedway, unofficially, Super B-Man 1, which I believe, Tyler, that is you, if I'm not mistaken. Tyler Burbeck, I believe, if I remember right, you are Super B-Man 1. Yep, Super B-Man 1 is the winner of the Fantasy League this week, scoring 214 points. Again, unofficially, we still have to wait for post-race inspection, but assuming Bell passes the post-race inspection. Unfortunately, he could not do a burnout. But yeah, it looks like by 22 points, Super B-Man 1 wins it. I got 150, tied for 5th. A lot of my guys spun out late, like Truex and Elliott. Unfortunately, they had good runs, but spun out late. Curse the rain, man. If it wasn't for the rain, I think Elliott might have won this race. But that is NASCAR racing there. I guess about as quintessential as it can get. Tyler Sauce Mafia, Super B-Man 1. Who's Super B-Man 1? I didn't realize you were Sauce Mafia, Tyler. Yeah, does anybody in the chat know who Super B-Man 1 is? Well, Super B-Man 1 is the winner here. We got 8 people watching currently right now. We had as high as 10 throughout the course of this race, but again, thanks for everybody tuning in. We got 16 likes right now, so thanks everybody for hitting that. Sorry, 17 likes, but thanks for hitting that like button. Make sure you do so, and hit that subscribe button as well for more daily NASCAR content. We will do these once a week, whether it is a truck, Xfinity, or Cup race. What a race at the Daytona Road Course. Christopher Bell gets his first career win live right here on KRC. We saw some rain. We saw a pass for the lead coming to the white flag. We saw the favorites getting spun or spinning on their own, or just chaos everywhere. So again, I'll leave it down in the comment section below this as well. I'll talk about it on the post-race analysis. We'll find out who Super B-Man was or is eventually. Again, we have all week yet until next week's race at Homestead for the interview to happen during the course of the week. So thanks everybody for watching. Again, like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I guess I physically won't see you guys, but be sure to check out the post-race analysis video coming out later tonight. And the next full race live stream will be tomorrow night on NASCAR Thunder 2004. NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. Sorry. On NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005, we will be racing at Martinsville for the Truck Series. So that'll be a lot of fun. Martinsville Truck Series racing tomorrow night on NASCAR 05. Start time will be right at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thanks everybody for tuning in again. I will see you guys tomorrow night. Have a good rest of your evening. Hopefully you enjoyed the race. And I'll catch you next time.